Terry Smith is suing her ex-husband, Tony Smith, for 3 ATVs and a lawnmower.
Court current order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2148, Smith versus Smith.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Smith, this used to be your husband. You haven't been married in a long time, but after your divorce, you sort of remained friendly and you had some business transactions together. What kind of business?
I would refer real estate business to him and refer flipping homes and the construction work.
Did you take part in that as well?
I did.
In what year were you divorced?
2015.
So this briefly is what I gather from the complaint and the answer in the counterclaim. At some point, according to you, you purchased 3 ATVs. Those 3 ATVs were originally supposed to be used in business.
We purchased more than 3.
How many did you purchase?
Those were the 3 that were left. It was 14 of them that we had.
And when you purchased those together as part of a business?
No, those were mine. I purchased it. The business.
14.
Business was mine. Yes. 14. Yes.
You purchased them, you paid for them?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and you can prove that to me?
I can.
Okay. Do you agree with the fact your former wife purchased the 14 ATVs?
Yes, I agree, but it was underneath an LLC that was formed.
I don't care whether it was under an LLC or a little umbrella or a big shoe. She bought the ATVs.
Yes.
So one of the things that's in question is the ATVs now are in your custody?
The remaining ones are in my home, yes.
3?
Yes, ma'am.
And you want them back?
I do.
She bought them. Why doesn't she get them back?
Because, Your Honor, there is an outstanding invoice for work that I have done for her.
What?
It's construction work and other odds and ends that was helping her.
That's not part of your counterclaim as a set-off, sir. That's not what you say at all.
Okay, and also there is a counterclaim.
You have a counterclaim. That has to do with your truck. So there really is no reason that you are holding those ATVs. Are they new?
No, they were demonstrator models. There's 1 new one and 2 demonstrators.
Okay, so within 5 days, you make arrangements to get those, okay? I assume that you have children together?
No.
So I assume that you are 2 civilized people. I don't know whether you need a police officer to accompany you to get those, but within 5 days, make arrangements to pick them up from his house. They're yours.
I will. Thank you.
Are we then finished with your claim?
Now, there's a lawnmower, an electric zero-turn lawnmower.
Okay.
It's also part of that claim.
Okay, I sort of remember that. Is that an old lawnmower?
No, it was purchased in May of 2021.
And who was it purchased for?
He asked me, since he could not get it on credit, if I would buy it for him, and the next real estate transaction that I referred him, he said when he got paid, he would pay me the $4,800 back.
Okay.
And so when I asked for it, he said he had put it in a separate savings account to save it for me. And I said, well, I don't need you to save me my money.
Got it. So you have the lawnmower?
Yes, ma'am.
You picked that up with the ATVs.
Thank you.
Got it?
Thank you.
Perfect. Now we have to come to your counterclaim. Your counterclaim is sort of interesting and can be, I think, probably equally swiftly disposed of. After your divorce, you needed a truck. You didn't have any money or credit, according to what I've read, and you purchased a truck in your name for him. And the agreement was that you would make the payments on the truck because you couldn't get credit. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
The truck was purchased in what month and year?
August of 2020.
How much did the truck cost?
$58,000, somewhere in there.
And how much of a down payment did you put down?
$500.
Is that right?
Yes,
That's good. You must have had good credit.
I do.
Good. And what were the monthly payments, sir?
900 and I can't remember exactly. It was under 1,000. It was 940 something dollars, I think.
And you paid for the truck the month of August of 2020 and all through 2021. Until when? When was your last payment on the truck that you made, that you can prove to me that you made?
I have all the payments.
Just tell me, when was the last payment you made on the truck?
It was August of this year.
August of 2022.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's what your bank records will indicate, that you made a payment of $900 and some odd dollars. August of 2022. And in what month did your former wife repossess the truck, which was in her name?
It was September 20th.
Now you're going to tell me why you repossessed the truck. Let's talk about the violations. Driving without tags, only 2 months. When we forget or we're traveling and we don't get registrations for our cars, we don't drive those cars. Because if you're driving with expired tags, that's against the law.
Terry Smith claims her ex-husband, Tony Smith, owes for 3 ATVs and a lawnmower. Tony is countersuing for the value of a truck.
Okay, you made a payment of $900 and some odd dollars.
Yes, ma'am.
August of 2022. And in what month did your former wife repossess the truck, which was in her name?
It was September 20th.
Okay, now you're going to tell me why you repossessed the truck.
Yes, that truck's first payment was due on October 30th of 2020. I made the payment on November
No.
28th.
No, I'm not interested in history.
Okay.
I'm interested in, he says that he was making payments on the truck. You say he stopped making payments on the truck, which is why you repossessed it. You didn't want your credit to be at risk.
It was 2 of the first payments that I made, and I said, I'm not doing this again like I did on the last truck where I make every payment. But the insurance, I asked for the insurance to be paid since April of 2020, and I requested this on June the 28th of 2022, and I said, here's the insurance premiums I've paid on the GMC truck since we've had it, and it was $1,596. His reply was, I'm happy to pay the insurance on my truck, but don't just dump 2.5 years on me at a time. I will need to break this up into 3 increments. This was June. I don't have any money. The insurance and taxes, the taxes this year is the first time he's ever paid taxes on the vehicle, and it was 1 year late. He drove on an expired tag for a total year. The reason
Is that just a second, is that correct?
I'm sorry.
Did you drive on an expired tag
No,
for a
ma'am.
year?
It was only a few months late.
So you drove
It
with
wasn't an entire year.
how many months?
2 months.
Well, that's too long.
I agree.
And was your agreement that you would maintain the insurance for the truck as well?
That was something that we discussed, and because of the real reason she actually agreed to purchase the truck, we had a previous truck that was also I was driving, and because of the LLC that the truck was under, it was a very high commercial insurance rate. So she felt that it would benefit her to get another truck and come out from under the commercial rate that she was paying for insurance, and she was going to put it in a group insurance policy.
Where
with
is
her
the
vehicle.
truck? Where is the truck? You've had possession of the truck.
That's correct.
So you get all the benefit of the truck, and she gets all the detriment.
I'm just referring to what we
I'm
discussed.
just, what I'm not getting from you, sir, is any sense of the whole idea was this is going to be my truck. As soon as I finish making all the payments on the truck is going to be mine, right?
That's correct.
And if you didn't make payments on the truck, absolutely, she has a right to repossess it if that was your agreement. And you acknowledge that that's your agreement, right?
That is the agreement, but I have made every payment, and I have
that's what
paid
you
all
s-
the taxes.
Well, the word paid all the taxes eventually, didn't pay them when due,
That happened
paid
once.
them, didn't pay them when due, pay them eventually. What about the insurance?
The insurance, I agreed to catch up and pay her back for once she told me what it was.
Okay,
I never received any information about the insurance amount until she sent it all in one.
okay, she sent it to you in one email.
Lumps.
That was in June, and you said I couldn't pay it, and she repossessed the car in September. Between June and September, did you make any insurance payment?
No, I did not.
Why?
It was a lot of things going on at that time that there was money owed to me as well from her. So there was a lot of discussion going back and forth about that.
Well, but one thing is clean. You know about the insurance, and if there's money that she owes you from construction or real estate or whatever it is, you have to put that in compartments. Where is the truck now?
I took the truck back and it is sold.
Did you ever tell him?
He wouldn't talk to me. He hasn't talked to me since May.
So you had the truck for approximately 2 years?
Yes, ma'am.
And how much in total did you pay for the truck?
The exact amount added up was $18,736.
So you paid approximately $9,000 a year, right?
Correct.
Your Honor, we had an agreement of $1,200 a month on the truck to cover the insurance and taxes up front before it was purchased.
That's not true.
Well, if you paid approximately $9,000, Mr. Smith, and you used it for business, correct? That's what you used the truck for. So you paid approximately $750 a month if you paid $9,000 each year for the 2 years, $1,870. You say the payments were $900 a month. That means that there was a shortfall.
Can I bring us? It was more than 2 years. It was August of 2020 until
September.
August of this year.
Well, that's 2 years.
There's also a down payment
Of $500. I'm not.
Okay.
So that's $750, sir. I always have a problem with people who are no longer married and no longer happy with each other, where one party has the obligation and has all the liability on a vehicle, including their credit and their insurance, when the other person is being either irresponsible or blinking at certain violations. Let's talk about the violations. Driving without tags, only 2 months. When we forget or we're traveling and we don't get registrations for our cars, we don't drive those cars. Because if you're driving with expired tags, that's against the law.
I would like to point out, if I may, that the bill for that obviously went to her address. It was not given to me.
Yep.
Now, that's not my. I understand that I need to be aware of it, but I never received that bill.
I gave it to him the very month it came in.
Just a second.
That's not true.
Just a second. You're a big boy. You know when your car has to be registered, you have a little yellow tag on the back like everybody else. And insurance, you know, you're supposed to pay insurance. That was your agreement. You were supposed to pay insurance. And you didn't pay insurance. She's going to show me how much was left on the loan and how much she sold the truck for. If she sold the truck for more than was left on the loan, the difference between, you're looking at me, the difference between that belongs to you.
Terry Smith is accusing ex-husband Tony Smith of wrongfully keeping 3 ATVs and a lawnmower. Tony claims Terry owes him for the cost of a truck.
Okay, well, are you working now, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. She sold the truck. How much did you sell it for?
$48,000.
And how much was left on the loan?
48. It was even.
Well, show me.
It was even. Oh,
I'd like to see that.
ooh.
So $48,000 was, he paid $18,000.
Hang on 1 second. I got it.
Can I submit this to you?
What is that?
Or this, my bank statement showing the payment.
No, you told me. I
Okay.
accepted it.
Okay.
She doesn't dispute it, and I accept it.
I do have a copy of the title here somewhere.
What I'm looking for, Mr. Smith, just so that you know, what I'm having her look for from me, she's going to show me how much was left on the loan and how much she sold the truck for. If she sold the truck for more than was left on the loan, the difference between, you're looking at me, the difference between that belongs to you
Oh, I see.
because you paid it, right?
I see. Yes, ma'am.
Got it? That
Yep.
fair? Did she tell you that she sold the truck?
No, ma'am.
He went and bought a truck 2 days later, so he was able to buy a truck.
Okay.
mean-
Would you find those papers for me while
I'm
you're looking
looking.
for
I'm
those
sorry, I
papers for
can't-
me?
I
Mr.
can't.
Smith, did you buy another truck?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Did you put a down payment on it?
Yes, ma'am.
And you own it now?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're driving it now?
That's correct.
What would you do with a second truck?
Well, I was forced to buy one because I
Well,
had
I
no
understand
warning.
I understand you were forced to buy one, sir. But if you had the truck and you weren't going to use 2 trucks, you would sell this truck for whatever amount you sold it for. And if there was any overage, you'd get to,
I offered to purchase the truck from her. In fact, she understood that I was planning to purchase the truck from her.
don't tell me what she understood. Right now, you don't need a truck, and I'm going to find out whether or not she has to give you any money as a result of what she sold the truck
This
for?
bill of sale does not have the amount on it. I didn't realize that. I'll have to get that from,
Well,
from
this is
where
the
I
time
sold
to
it.
get it.
I'm sorry, I did not realize it didn't have it on there.
Okay. Oh, you sold it to a company?
I did.
Oh, okay. Not to a private party.
No.
Is that the same company that you purchased it from?
No, I purchased it from a different dealership.
Okay. Do you have the exact amount that the loan, the extant loan was?
The original loan was 60.
No.
I'm sorry. The exit loan,
Yeah, the exit.
it was between 48 and 49,000, give or take. Yeah, hang on.
And the
hang on,
truck
hang
was,
on,
and
hang
the
on.
truck
I have it.
was purchased for 56, so that amounts for his payments plus interest.
I have
okay.
it. That's the difference of what they gave me. I originally put the down payment on that truck as well. He did not.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah, that was the difference they gave me in the sale.
Okay, so this is
That's
the
the
difference.
difference, yes.
Between what was on the loan,
Exactly. Exactly.
and this. Okay, so the excess, sir, was $2,225. She put in the deposit for the truck when it was originally purchased of $500?
She did not.
Yes.
Who did?
I did, and I have a copy. I have that in this record right here.
Show me.
We added tires. We added all kinds of extra
I don't
stuff
care.
and
I
everything
don't
to
care.
it. and
I don't
I paid for that
I
as
don't
well.
care. I don't care.
Yeah.
This is actually,
Just show me
it's on my phone. Can I show it? Can I?
from 2020.
Yes, what had happened, the amount actually came off of this statement copy.
Let me see.
Can I submit this too, where I made the 2 payments on the truck when he first started? I made the very second payment and the 4th payment on that truck because he wouldn't make it. I also notified him on June the 20th that he had 30 days to get the truck in his name, and I never heard anything.
You can't notify him within 30 days to get it in his name. That's not the agreement. Let me see.
Yeah. There's this.
Yep. Purchased authorized August 22nd, and this is 2020
20.
for $500. Okay, so the difference of $500 that came out of your account brings the total excess that she received $1,725. She's coming to pick up her lawnmower within 5 days and her 3 ATVs. At the same time, she's going to give you $1,725, which is the difference between what was owed on the truck and the profit that was made that she didn't pay for. We're finished here. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
I think it was fair.
Well, it was a little less than I thought I was going to get back from it, and there's a lot more to the story that obviously I couldn't get in.
Well, I mean, I had the truth, so.
She understands why that is because there's an outstanding invoice from me for work that I've done that she's refusing to pay for.
I have supported him since 2003.
Construction work, I did a lot of planning and helping her with her current home that she's living in.
It is just one thing after another, and I could never owe him one dime.
I mean, everything was fine between us.
Has trauma bonded me and manipulated me and gaslit me for all these years and kept me around just in case other relationships didn't work out.
Until she found out I was seeing someone else.
No. I had been asking for everything of mine that he kept and held hostage for a long time before that, but he's probably had many more before that. I just didn't know about them.
But I'm happy.
I was thinking he was making me think that we were reconciling while he was using me.
I don't see us talking anymore.
The bank is finally closed, and the bad bargain has just been a nightmare. It's been hundreds of bad bargains.
No more business ventures.
You see, it's always a mistake, unless you're married, to co-sign a loan for anybody, a boyfriend, a somebody,
An ex-husband.
and especially an ex-husband.
Yeah. Because I think what you said was true. There's always one person that gets no benefit and gets slighted and has their name on the line for their credit for future purchases that they want to make, and the guy who gets to drive the truck.
And the guy gets to drive the truck. Of course, he says that the reason she got all hot and bothered is because he has a girlfriend now. I would have felt a little more sympathy towards him had he not gone out 2 weeks later and bought her.
Is suing truck mechanic Sean Antul for a truck engine and repair costs.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2022, Greniger versus Intel.
Thank you. Mr. Greniger, how long have you and the defendant been friends?
I've known Sean probably maybe 3 or 4 years now.
From where?
He lives about 3 blocks away from me. I've met him through another friend that told me he worked on his vehicles before.
You did mechanical work.
Yes.
What kind of business are you in?
Construction, you name it, anything construction.
And you have a couple of trucks?
Yes.
How many?
I have one commercial vehicle and then I just have a Chevy Avalanche.
The commercial vehicle, would you describe it to me? That's the one he was supposed to work on?
Yes.
Describe it to me, please.
It's a 16-foot box truck.
How old?
A 97.
1997.
Yes, ma'am.
It's as old as Sarah. And I suppose it needed a little work.
Yes.
And you took it to your friend.
Yes.
Did you drive it over there to his house 2 or 3 blocks away? Did you have it towed over to his place?
We had to have it towed over there. It was operable before.
But you had it towed?
Yes.
Yeah. And what month and year did you have it towed there?
I believe this started in June of 2020.
And Mr. Antel, you looked at it and you determined it needed a new engine.
Well, I looked at it. Actually, I did some work prior to that. The intake manifold gasket and was...
You mean before June of 2020?
Yes.
And then the truck was running? Then he took back...
Running very crappy.
So it was not running well even after you fixed it?
After I put the intake gasket on, I had it started, it made the same noise. We decided to put an engine in it.
Okay, so it wasn't working after the initial work you did on it?
No.
Decided to put an engine in it. Now, how much was it to work on the engine?
He gave me a little bit of money here, a little bit of money there. It was not all in one lump sum.
How much did he give you?
It was 100 here once, 100 twice, a couple different times, you know.
How much money did you give him?
800.
How much did you quote him for the whole job?
1,000.
So he gave you 800, and according to the papers that Mr. Greniger filed, he also purchased an engine.
Yes.
And this was in June of 2020.
I didn't get the motor at my house until I'm trying to think. It was in the winter, it was in December.
Of 2020?
Yes, 2020, yep.
Do you have the date that you purchased the engine?
Yes.
What was it?
January 7th, 2021.
Okay, so the truck sat on his property for 6 months
Yes.
before you got the engine, which was needed to fix it.
Yes. He said it was the intake plenum.
Was that in June of 2020?
Yeah, that's when it began. That's the whole...
Okay. When did he tell you that you needed an engine? In what month? Do you recall?
That was in January.
So the truck sat there, and finally you told him that it needed a new engine, but it was already sitting there for months.
I told him 2 or 3 months prior to that.
Okay, so it was sitting there for 3 months or
Yes.
4 months?
Yes.
And he'd already paid you the $800?
He gave me a little bit here and there, yes.
They already paid you the $800 towards the 1,000. So this is what the case is about. The truck has never been fixed. He doesn't have the engine anymore. He scrapped the engine, according to him. Yes. So you want what you paid for it, the engine.
Yes, Your Honor.
First of all, Mr. Ransell said, well, he worked on another truck for you, a smaller truck, and so that ate up the $800. And you didn't come for the engine, and finally he just sold it for scrap. Mr. Antel, were you very busy during this period of time?
Not really, no.
Well, could you tell me why it took 3 months for you to tell him that he needed a new engine?
He knew after I put the plenum gasket back on, I called him on the phone.
What month?
It had him in November, right before Thanksgiving.
So at the end of November. So you had the truck since June. June, July, August, September, October. You had the truck 6 months. Could you tell me why?
Why? I had problems with it. I couldn't get the bumper off. I couldn't do none of that.
Well, but that's your responsibility. You undertook a job.
Yeah, I took the job because he was supposed to help me, and he never did.
He was supposed to help you put in the new engine?
Help me get the bumper off, and then I had problems with the city of Brooklyn Center.
No. He was supposed to help you get the bumper off, and because you couldn't get the bumper off, you couldn't do the engine. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, because it was rusted solid.
Shh. I assume, I've read your papers, I assume this is the mechanic that you say helped you work on another car for him that you gave money to?
Yes.
Okay, so that's why he's here.
Yep.
Okay. In what month and year did you fix this other car?
January
of 2021.
2022.
So in January 2022, the truck was where?
The Avalanche.
The big one.
At his house, at Mike
And he
Rager's.
brought you another truck?
Yes.
Which other truck did he bring you in?
The Chevy Avalanche.
The big truck, the commercial truck, is now back at his house.
Yes.
and went back to his house because they were going to tow it from the city.
Yes.
And you say in January, he then brought you a different truck
Yes, of 2022.
that you worked on.
Yeah, completed it.
Just a second. Do you recall that, sir?
No, it's not exactly how it went.
Did you, in January of 2022, did you bring him, you had the big commercial truck back at your house because
Yep.
it had to be moved.
Yep.
You hadn't gotten your $800 back,
Nope.
and he still had the engine
Yep.
in January of this year.
Yep.
So, yep is not an answer, yes is
sorry.
an answer. So, why, sir, under those circumstances, would you bring him another car to fix? You have a driver's license?
It's currently suspended.
How long has it been suspended, Mr. Gruniger?
About a year now.
Now, why is that? Have you had accidents in the past? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, serious ones. Yes.
Michael Gruniger claims truck mechanic Sean Ansel owes for a truck engine and repair costs. Sean is countersuing, claiming Michael filed a false police report against him.
Now, you hadn't gotten your $800 back,
Nope.
and he still had the engine.
Yep.
In January of this year.
Yep.
So, yep is not an answer, yes is
sorry.
an answer. So, why, sir, under those circumstances, would you bring him another car to fix?
Because then I had absolutely no transportation. I needed something to work.
Just a second. You have a big truck, you had a little truck. So, the big truck is now immobile, it's at your house. And the only working vehicle that you had needed work on it.
Yes.
So, you brought it to him.
Yep.
Not yep. That's yes.
Yes.
And he worked on it
Yes.
because it was inoperable.
No, it was operable, but he told me that.
Not he told you. You didn't bring it to him because he told you you were having trouble with it.
Yes.
What kind of trouble were you having with it?
There was a grinding.
Oh, that's a
sound.
big deal. Grinding sound.
Yes.
What parts did it need?
Well, he told me it was the transfer case.
Did he fix your truck?
Eventually, but it was the rear end.
Just a second. Eventually, did he fix, take your hands out of your pockets, did
was
he fix
both.
the truck? The second one? The smaller one?
yeah.
The one that you needed for
Yes,
transportation?
eventually, yes, he did put in a rear end.
Okay. Did you pay him for that?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
How much did you pay for that?
$300.
How long did he have it?
Oh, he did that within about a week.
2 days. 2 days.
Okay. So it took you 2 days?
Yes.
Did you give him a bill for that work?
I didn't give him nothing. Just a word of mouth.
He says that he gave you $300 to fix that car. Did he give you $300 to fix that car?
No, he did not.
Okay, do you have any proof?
$600 altogether.
Just a second. Would you please show me any proof that you have that you gave him $300 to fix that car?
I don't have proof of the money that I gave him.
Don't got it.
I just have the receipt.
He doesn't got it.
Shh.
Okay.
I just have the receipts for the parts that I bought for the vehicle. He
Okay.
first said it was the transfer case. I buy a transfer case.
Doesn't matter. He's working, so.
Yeah, but I paid him to do something. He took something apart of the truck. It wasn't even the problem. But yet I still
this I
paid
don't
him for
understand.
it.
But this, quite honestly, I don't
And then I
understand.
paid him
sir.
for the rear end, too.
I don't understand a couple of things.
Okay.
If I've been disappointed by a workman, as you clearly were, from June 2020 until January 2022, because they hadn't completed a job for you, despite the fact that you purchased the part, I wouldn't call that same mechanic back. I wouldn't call that same plumber back. I wouldn't call that same electrician back because I'd had a bad experience with them. So it confounds me as to why you would take another vehicle to him if you were so dissatisfied with his work.
Understandable.
Yeah. Well, so why?
Felt like I was in, in a tight spot, and I really couldn't
What kind of
afford.
tight spot were you in? Where do you live?
I live in Minneapolis.
Minneapolis, that's a big town. There are lots of mechanics there. There are lots of auto repair, truck repair.
Yeah, but I really financially couldn't afford, legitimate.
Well, that's what happens when you deal with a legitimate. But I don't understand why an otherwise intelligent man would take his only semi-operating vehicle to the same person who had his truck for a year and didn't fix it. Listen, what'd you do with his engine?
I scrapped it.
Okay. Don't be mad at me.
Huh?
Don't be mad at me.
I'm not. I love you.
Okay, good. Thank you. When did you scrap it?
The end of April of 2022.
Did you give him any notice that you were going to scrap his engine?
No, I did not. There's a false police report made against me.
Okay.
I have the case number and the officer's number.
Okay, just a sec. So you retaliated because that's your counterclaim, that he filed a false police report, as a result of which, and the false police report said that during the course of a heated argument about this truck, that he says that you pulled a gun and
Did not.
filed a police report.
No, I didn't.
So,
You did.
Prove it. You can't.
Mr. Rantel. And that's your counterclaim, that he filed this false police report and nothing ever came of it except you were embarrassed by being questioned by the police in front of family members.
Yes.
And as a result of that false police report, you threw away his motor.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, you can't do that. That you can't do. How much did you pay for the motor, sir?
$690 plus I paid $100 for delivery of the motor.
I'd like to see the invoice for that.
I got the invoice for the motor, but
That's
not...
all I need.
Okay.
Thank you. So, Mr. Rantel, so that we're clear, you have to understand you can't get even by selling somebody else's property.
I didn't
What you
sell
do?
it. I didn't sell it. I
Scrap
gave it away.
It doesn't matter. By disposing of. Let's make it disposing of. When you say you scrapped it, you mean nobody gave you $10 for it?
Not a dime.
Okay, then you can't give it away in retaliation
Why
for
not?
filing.
Why not? It was in my possession.
No, because you took.
Try to put me in jail for not
just a
something I
second.
didn't do.
Just a second. I'm speaking. I'm speaking. You cannot sell someone else's property in retaliation for them doing something to you when you have legal recourse. Your legal recourse is to come here and file a case. You did it as a counterclaim and say he filed a false police report against me that I was using a gun. So that's what you do. The response to that isn't, I'm going to sell his property. That's not your response. You know, when I used to sit in family court, I had young people, one of whom was selling drugs for a very long time. Heavy drugs. Kid, 15, 16 years old. And he had 6 or 7 priors for selling heavy-duty drugs. And I tried that case, and there was no question he was selling drugs. And his lawyer's argument at the disposition stage of that case was he was selling drugs because his grandmother died. I said, I lost all my grandparents, and I was close to my grandparents. I did a lot of things. I grieved, lost my appetite for a while. I was sad, but I didn't sell drugs. So when somebody does something to you that you believe is against the law, your responsibility is you file a case against them.
Right.
You proceed legally against them. You don't take it out in another way, because that doesn't make a civilized society. Just doesn't. That makes sort of a vigilante kind of thing. So you shouldn't do that. So you have to pay him for his engine. Now, as far as the second piece of your case is the $800 that you gave him, I have no idea how much it was to fix your second car, but he did in fact fix it. And since you had no particular agreement with him on how much it was, and according to you, you couldn't deal with someone, you didn't have the funds to deal with someone who was, I think the word was legitimate.
Legitimate.
That's a problem that I can't resolve for you. Now let's get to this argument and his counterclaim. The argument that you had was over the truck.
The white truck? Yes.
Any truck. I don't care what.
Yes.
I'm not a truck girl myself. I like 4-door comfortable sedans. And this argument took place on what date? Why don't you tell me, Mr. Rantel, because this is your counterclaim.
It was the end of April.
End of April of 2022.
Yes.
And the police were called.
No, ma'am.
Yes, the police were called. They showed up at my place.
No, the police report is 7/25/22.
7/25/22.
May I see the police report?
Yes, ma'am. Your Honor.
That's a lie, because it was April.
I'm going to look at it. Just a second. Yeah, time of occurrence, April 22nd, 2022. It was April.
Yeah.
Yes, I got him.
You don't need a truck, you don't need a car. You have no driver's license.
No, ma'am. Me and my son, we work construction together. He drives.
Do you know how old I am? Do you have any idea how old I am? You think that I believe that? It's only going 4 miles an hour.
Michael Grinniger is accusing truck mechanic Sean Antle of wrongfully selling his engine and threatening him. Sean claims Michael accused him of flashing a gun he never owned.
Now, I'm going to look at it. Just a second. Yeah, time of occurrence, April 22nd, 2022. It was April.
Yeah.
Yes, I got him.
You have a driver's license?
It's currently suspended.
How long has it been suspended, Mr. Grinniger?
About a year now.
What were you doing driving a vehicle?
I wasn't. They were towing the vehicle with a tow chain.
I understand that. But you drive a vehicle, sir.
I was steering the vehicle.
What does that mean, you were steering the vehicle?
Driving it.
The vehicle
Just-
moving at 4 miles an hour.
I don't care if it was
Behind-
running backwards. I just asked you. You have no license because, according to the police, you having a driver's license would be inimical to public safety. That's what it says here. Now, why is that? Have you had accidents in the past? Yes.
Yes.
Serious ones? Yes. Okay. You don't need a truck. You don't need a car. You have no driver's license.
No, ma'am. Me and my son, we work construction together. He drives.
Do you know how old I am? Do you have any idea how old I am? You think that I believe that? I was only going 4 miles an hour. I will set the rules of what it is that means driving. You go 5 miles an hour, it's really not
He lives
driving.
3 blocks away from him. We were just
I don't care.
towing it down the street.
I don't care whether you were in the kitchen, he was in the laundry room. And when you spoke to the police, Mr. Griniger, there were 2 other witnesses, and you would not give them the last name or contact information for either of them. Is that right? That's what it says here, unless it's calling
Yeah,
the
I
police
didn't know
lies.
his last name.
And you wouldn't give them your son's name because you say he doesn't like police.
And that I want to make straight. That is not true. I would not tell a police officer my son
It should be
doesn't
noted
like
that
police.
Griniger stated that Michael Jr. would not give a statement because he didn't like police.
Right.
As well as
That's
Griniger
not
would
true. My
not
little
give the
brother's
phone
a
number
police
for Michael
officer.
Jr. I'm just telling you, I'm reading you what
I know, I'm
what
sorry.
you handed me. It's your evidence.
Yep, I'm sorry.
Okie dokie. Did you make an application, Mr. Griniger, for any sort of protective order against him?
No,
No. You were advised by the police that you could do that if you wanted to.
no.
Interesting.
Yeah, that report is interesting.
It was you, your son, and this person, Kyle, who were present, and only Mr. Antel. Is that right, when this confrontation took place?
Yes.
And according to you, you got out of your truck and you started walking towards him aggressively. That's according to you.
That's not
according.
true. He's 40 feet away from me.
No.
I can't hear that well.
According to you, I'm reading you what your police report says, sir.
Yeah, but
I'm reading what your police report says based upon what you told the police at the time back in April.
it's not entirely correct.
Griniger stated that he started advancing towards Antel. Griniger also stated that he called Antel while he was walking towards him. It should be noted that Griniger stated, and this is all on body cam, that he was walking towards Antel aggressively. Griniger stated that Antel then pulled what he described as a black handgun out of his sweatshirt pocket. He described it as black and silver trim. He stated that he did not point it or say anything, just showed it to him to make you aware that he was carrying. And after the police interviewed both of you and confirmed the 2 people with you were out and you were walking and confronting him aggressively, called his names, and could not confirm the fact that he had a gun, took out a gun, not pointed it to you, just showed you that he had it, they decided to do nothing. That's what you're telling me. That's what this report says.
Yeah, they didn't validate it as a threat.
They did not validate it at all.
Right.
Okay, so, Mr. Antel,
Yes.
what happened after that report is that police officers came to your house to ask you about that,
Yes.
right? And you said, related practically the same thing that Mr. Griniger did to the police, that he approached you, that he called you a name, that he was aggressive. You said all of that.
Yes.
But you said you did not have a gun.
That's right.
Okay. And this is not meant to hold you criminally responsible for anything. Mr. Antel, have you ever had possession of a gun?
No.
Ever in your life?
No.
Did you ever purchase a gun?
No.
In your state, in order to purchase a gun legally, do you have to go through a process or is it a carry state?
You gotta go through a legal process.
You have to.
Yes.
Okay. Were you ever arrested for carrying a gun?
No.
Other than your statement that he showed you that he had a gun, and how far was he standing from you?
About 40 feet.
40 feet away. And you saw him take something out of his sweatshirt pocket.
He didn't remove it out of his pocket. He removed his hand covering it.
What does that mean?
It was in his pocket. He was wearing a hoodie.
How do you know it was in his pocket? What do you have, X-ray vision?
No, my son seen it because his vehicle was right alongside his vehicle. So my son seen it, and then when he got back in his car and pulled up another 10 feet and got out of his car, turned around and said, yeah, bring it, and a few expletives, and then pulled his hand out of his hoodie pocket and revealed the handle of the gun.
Just a second. So you're saying at that time you saw it?
Yes.
You saw it, not your son
My
40
son
feet
actually
away.
seen it on
Not
the
son
seat
40
of his
feet away.
car.
That's a lie.
But you
He
saw.
reached in and grabbed it and put it in his sweater because when he got back out of the car to face me is when he decided to show me he had a gun.
Okay. Were you out of your truck at the time?
Yes, I was standing beside
Okay,
him.
so you were out of your truck. And what about your son? Was he out of the truck?
Nope.
He was in. What about Kylie?
He remained in the truck too. He was the one in front pulling the truck that I was steering, and he was following behind. It was a little convoy.
And Mr. Rantel was by himself?
Yes, he was driving down the street in the opposite direction.
Mr. Rantel, I am not satisfied, quite frankly, and cannot make a determination whether or not you had a gun or what appeared to be a gun or what appeared to be something in your pocket or whether you even moved your hand in your pocket to demonstrate maybe you had a weapon. I don't find that the acts that you allege that he committed by filing this false police report is something that I can justify giving you a financial award for, because I'm not so sure that you didn't have something in your pocket.
I didn't have
I'm not sure. In any event, Mr. Rantel, you owe him for the engine that you discarded in a peak. You can't do that. Cost of the engine was $590, right? $590. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Ma'am,
We're finished.
Your Honor.
We're
Court
done.
is adjourned.
I was kind of in a hard spot. I needed my truck fixed.
Try to push me and push me.
I trusted him.
It didn't work today. I won.
Truck is inoperable. It's sitting in my backyard.
I worked for what he gave me.
So I really couldn't afford, like I said, a legitimate shop or a mechanic.
I've never owned a pistol.
Yeah, he's lying.
Basically, if I'm gonna fight, I'm gonna fight with my bare hands.
Don't do anything without any receipts.
Our friendship is through.
You know, it's really hard when you have two difficult people, but there was something about what he said that had the ring of truth to it,
Very honest.
a directness. And I'm really not convinced, were you?
No, I wasn't either.
That he had a gun.
It could have gone either way, and while I believed his outburst of innocence, I couldn't imagine making something like that up, but maybe that's just me. So it was really difficult. I don't think I could have made a determination either way either.
Yeah, and I think the answer is here. If you can't make a decision one way or another, it's not supposed to be a guess. It's supposed to be by some evidence.
Yeah.
But you can't sort of take the law into your own hands, and if he filed a
true.
police report, I'm going to scrap his engine. That's inappropriate. But with regard to the $800 that he paid him, there's no question he worked on the other truck. And he
Even
said he
if
worked on
didn't
it
have
for
a
2
license
days.
to drive it.
And the plaintiff didn't have a license to drive it anyway.
Yeah.
And Sarah, didn't he say, I needed one functional vehicle? So something like
We'll
that.
have to get Whitney to read it back.
Yeah, I think so. Thanks.
Want justice? Go to judyjustice.tv. Is suing her brother, Jordan Thompson, and his girlfriend, Carmela Turturelli, for personal belongings.
Court come to order. All rise.
Be seated, please.
Hello, Judge. Good. Case number 248, Bolio versus Thompson's Turkey Valley.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How old are you, Miss Bilio?
I'm 31.
You have 2 kids?
I have 3 children.
3. How old are they?
I have a 10-year-old daughter and 2 sons that are 4 and 5.
What kind of work do you do?
I stay at home with my children
And how long have you been staying at home?
since my first son was born.
So for 5 years.
Yep, my first son.
And what had you done before?
Housekeeping, and while I was pregnant with both my sons, I did do beet harvest.
There came a time, sometime, I think, was it last year, that you needed a place to stay.
Yes.
2021.
Yep.
Why?
September 29th of 2020, me and my boyfriend had broken up, so I had stayed in a shelter.
Is your boyfriend the father of either
Yes.
one of these
Yep.
children?
All my children have the same father. Me and him had broken up at the time, and I left from where we were staying at the time. Our living was West Fargo to the YWCA right away, the homeless shelter. And I was there for like 6 months. And during that time, I had met Carmela, and me and her became friends. And I had introduced her to my brother. And then I moved away for a little while in April, and I came back like the end of May.
Where did you move to?
I went to Texas,
What's in Texas?
a friend,
Where did you meet him?
here in Fargo when I was 14 years old.
So what brought you to Texas?
That's where he was living, and he told me if I wanted to come live with him there, I could.
You didn't have a job in Texas.
He did.
You?
No, I did not.
And from when to when were you living in Texas?
I left April 15th, and I was there until like,
Of 2021?
yeah. And then I moved back beginning of June, kind of. And then,
Beginning of June of the same year?
yes,
So you stayed there for 3 months?
yeah.
And you moved with your children?
Yep, all three of them.
Yep is not an answer.
Yes, all three of my children I moved.
Okay, so you
to
took
Texas.
them out of school in April.
My daughter.
Took her out of school in April.
Yep, I did. And
Yep
we,
is not an answer.
and we moved.
You took her out of school in April to go to Texas, to live with a friend that lasted 2 months. The fact is, you took your daughter
Yes.
out of school. I'm just trying to figure out who I'm dealing with.
Yes, because I had nowhere to live.
Well, there's a big place, but where do you live, in what state?
Minnesota?
In Minnesota.
Yeah.
Well, there's a big difference between Texas and Minnesota. And also, there's only 2 months between April, when school is still in session, and June, when it's over.
Yes, I know this.
Yeah, you know this. You're aware of this.
Yes.
Okay. I set this up because I really want to find out what I'm dealing with here. Now, I sort of know. In any event, you had no place to go. Your brother contacted you. You contacted him, and he invited you to come and live with him.
Yes, he did. In
All
October.
right. That's what he did. You and your 3 children.
Nope, just me and my 2 boys.
So you were going to live with your brother and his girlfriend with your 2 children.
Yes.
You got there when?
October.
Of 2021.
Yes.
Case is relatively simple. Case involves your claim that they have property that belongs to you. And they have a cross complaint that they probably would not have brought but for the fact that you're suing them. Because I think that they're just happy that you're gone. You moved in with them in October of 2021 and paid no regular
No. I did not.
rent.
The agreement between me and my brother was to buy food for the house and to give him money when I can.
Okay, now
That's
you
what we
weren't
talked about.
working. Now you weren't working, so how are you going to buy food for the house?
I was on assistance through Minnesota, so I got SNAP.
So you got food stamps?
Yes, and then I had child support. Well, I was on child support, but I wasn't getting the money. I didn't start getting money until February of 2022. And that's when I start giving him
Just
money
a second.
every so often.
In October of 2021, you were not getting child support.
No.
You were getting food stamps,
Yes.
which you said you would share with your brother.
Yep, I
who
bought-
lives, not yep is not an answer, who lives with his girlfriend, and how many children?
We have no children.
No children at all.
We have dogs.
That's fine. So you were sharing some of your food stamps with your brother and his
All
girlfriend.
of my food stamps went to the house.
Well, that's where you were living.
Yep. Yes, it was.
Yes, that's where you were living, with your
Yes.
2 children.
Yes.
Okay. What kind of work do you do, sir?
I'm currently unemployed.
And what does your girlfriend do?
She works for a cleaning service.
Okay. Now, there came a time that you got a substantial amount of money from the government. What month and year was that?
Just this past April.
How much did you get from the government?
It was taxes.
What kind of taxes? You haven't worked in 5 years.
It was the child tax credit, and I did work when I moved back from
You
Texas.
told me you hadn't worked in 5 years. I want to know what you got money from the federal government for. That's what your brother says. And I was curious. That's why I asked you the questions about working.
It is-
So don't make it up.
It slipped my mind.
What?
I'm sorry.
So that
I
that
did do
doesn't slip your
housekeeping.
mind.
I did housekeeping, laundry, in a hotel when I moved back from Texas with my mother.
Month. You worked from June 2021 until we'll find out.
Until like mid-June because I did not have a babysitter for my children.
So you worked for a couple of weeks.
Yes.
How much money did you get from the federal government in April of 2022?
$11,000 from the government for child tax credit.
So you got $11,000, not from working, not that it slipped your mind, because 2 weeks may slip your mind because that's what you worked, if you worked at all. $11,000, you got child care credits. How much did you get for each of your 3 children?
I only filed for 2 of my children.
How much did you get for the 2 boys?
I believe $3,000 for each of them.
That's $6,000. Where's the other 5?
That came to me for the stimulus checks because I did not receive the last stimulus check. They said that my boys did not receive the refund that was coming to them for the stimulus too. So that was all
So
on
your
tax.
boys got. Let me understand. Let me understand why this country is in such a fiscal morass today. So you got $3,000 for child care credit for each of your children, and the other $5,000 came because you went to an accounting firm, and they said, well, you should have gotten stimulus money for your boys.
Yes.
And you missed that, so we're going to put in for it. So they sent you another 5, or they sent you...
They sent it all together on one.
Okay, all together on one. So that you had plenty of time to go and take care of.
Yes.
Right.
Your judge actually have proof of how much she did get.
Now, when you got this $11,000, that $11,000 was supposed to help get you through COVID,
Yes.
paying your bills, paying for rent, buying clothes for your children. So you got this money in April of 2022, $11,400. Okay. And then you went on vacation. In what month and year did you go on vacation?
April of 2022.
So the minute you got the money, according to you,
I start looking for a vehicle.
But you bought a car?
I started looking for a vehicle.
So you started to look for a car. Now, you've been without a car for a while, but you started looking for a car.
Yep.
And also in April, you asked your friend, your brother's girlfriend, if she would watch your two children.
Me and her had a discussion before April.
You didn't go until after you got the money.
Yes.
You knew you were getting the money before April because you were going to apply for it.
Yes.
Yes.
But when I got the thing where it said I was getting the money back, it didn't say that much.
$11,400. So you decided to go on vacation. Where did you go?
I went to Colorado.
Where in Colorado?
Up in the Denver area.
How did you get there?
I was with a friend and they drove.
Male or female friend?
Male.
So you went with a male friend to Colorado for how long?
I was there for a week.
What does this friend do for a living?
I'm not really sure.
You don't know whether this friend works or not?
I met him last year and I kept in contact with him throughout the whole year. And then we just got back in contact February of beginning of 2022.
And you don't know what he does for a living?
I'm not really sure what he was doing for work.
You have no right to give away any of her property, whether you think somebody deserves it more than she deserves it. Hey, that doesn't require an answer. I'm telling you what the rule is.
Alyssa Bolio claims her brother, Jordan Thompson, and his girlfriend, Carmela Turturelli, owe for the value of her personal belongings.
Okay, so you went away for a week, and according to what I read, you made arrangements with your friend, your brother's girlfriend, to take care of your two children, and you agreed to pay her $400 for the week.
Yes.
And then you went away for the week in April. Did you come back after a week?
Yes, I did.
On what date did you return?
The Saturday right before Easter.
Date?
April 19th, Your Honor.
And then what happened?
I came home and I talked...
April 19th?
Yep, I came home on April 19th and I talked to my brother and Carmela. I stayed at the house for a little while because my boys were not there when I got home.
What a little while?
I stayed at the house for maybe 2 hours and got all my stuff into the house and my boys were not there. So I believe I went to my sister's house and to my mother's house and I did not know where my boys were.
Just a second. If your two boys weren't in the house...
I had asked them where they were.
You asked them where you were and they told you it was a secret?
No, I asked them where my children were and they said that they had went with their father.
So you knew where they were?
When I got home, I knew where they were. I didn't know that they had left previous to me arriving home.
What you got home from being away with a new friend in Denver and you said, where are my boys? Duh, where are my boys? They're with their dad. So you went to your sister and mother's house, and then what happened?
And then the next morning, we left to the cities, and
the next morning?
On Easter Sunday.
On Easter Sunday, who's we?
Me and the friend.
What friend?
My friend that I went to Denver with.
So you went where?
Minneapolis.
How far a ride is that?
4-hour drive.
You intend to stay over there?
No. We were going to go visit some of his friends and then come back. But next thing I remember was waking up in the hospital. And I contacted my brother when I did.
You have the hospital records?
No, I do not. I contacted them.
You have, just a second, you have an admission record?
No.
Do you have a bill from them?
No, because I don't get billed.
Of course you get bills. When you leave the hospital, they say either you owe us this amount of money, that's what you get when you're discharged from the hospital. You may not be able to get hospital records, but it would certainly be interesting, madam, for me to know what. The next thing I knew after you were going with your friend to the cities to see some of his friends, you don't know anything until after you wake up in a hospital. Wouldn't
As
you be
soon as I woke
concerned?
up, I contacted my brother.
What date?
I'm not sure. I don't remember exact dates.
I mean, you have 3 children. What do you mean you don't know what date?
I don't know the exact dates, but I did contact him as soon as I was able to, because I did not have my own phone.
Don't you see how irresponsible this whole story is for a
Yes.
person who has 3 children?
Yes.
How totally irresponsible it is. And what is sad about it is you appear to be an intelligent person who just seems to go from one place to another based upon, well, I used to know him in Texas. I used to know him in Colorado. I used to know him here. I leave my 2 boys with Camilla.
And we don't have no children, so we're taking care of her children while she's out running around doing whatever.
I didn't ask you
Okay.
anything. I can actually visualize the picture, and sadly, so can you. What date did she finally contact you after she disappeared again?
So after a Thursday after Easter Sunday.
Thursday after Easter Sunday. So that's
The 21st of April is the Thursday after Easter this year.
It was actually Monday, the 25th.
We got records.
That's when I came home.
I don't care. I just want to know when you showed up again.
I contacted my brother, and I let him know what had happened. And then he was asking about our father, like I was supposed to go pick up our father.
I don't care. Let's get to the lawsuit. Now that I understand the characters that I'm dealing with, it is your claim that your brother and or his girlfriend took some of your property, didn't give you all your property that you should have had, because they finally said, we've had enough of you and your shenanigans. Goodbye.
I did
Good
not
idea.
start leaving the house until that April. I was in the house the whole time with my boys. I've asked them maybe to watch them overnight a couple times, but that's it.
I don't care. They had enough of you. You didn't pay rent. They could say to you, goodbye. We tried to do our best. You took advantage of us. Goodbye. Now, that being said, you stayed with them for how many months and didn't pay them any rent, any utilities? How many months? You and your boys?
4.
4 months.
Because I started paying my brother in February.
Paying him what?
Money. I gave him money.
No, I don't
When
want to
I
know who
got
gave him money. Rent. I know that at your age, maybe
We
you think you're
didn't
too
agree
young.
upon a state
maybe
of
you're too
an
young.
amount.
They either rent their house, they have a mortgage on their house, they have things that they
We
have
did
to
not
pay.
agree upon a set amount for every month. We did not
Well,
agree
don't
upon
you
it.
think you should agree on a certain amount every month? You
But
just
we did
came
not.
into $11,000.
And it was actually way more than 4 months.
Shh. You just came into $11,000. You've been living off somebody else's largesse. You just came into $11,000 that I gave you, or they gave you, but you certainly didn't work for. So you say to at least the person who you're staying with, listen, I'm going to give you a couple of $100s a month just to cover my share of the expenses because you're 2 people and we're 3.
I gave him $400 when I got my taxes. As soon as I got it, I gave him money.
Did you pay Camilla for watching
Yes, I
the
did.
children?
Yes, I did.
$400?
Yes.
Okay. Did she pay you?
Yes.
She says in her complaint that you sold a computer of hers. She says you felt that she owed you more money because you actually watched the children for a longer period of time than the week that she paid you for when she doesn't remember where she was. Did you sell her computer?
I actually gave it away.
No, I don't believe that.
I did. And it's not
Well, why
her
would you
computer.
give it away? That's just spiteful.
Because it was family, and
What do you mean it was family?
it was family.
I am not your family.
Chip,
It
I
was.
don't want you to speak. You have no right to give her things
It
away.
wasn't hers, and I have proof right here.
Whose was it?
Who knows? I guess her friends.
That doesn't matter. It was in her possession.
It was in our possession,
It
actually.
was. She left it with us
I
when
left
she
it-
left.
I left it at the house.
No. That you may think is in your possession.
She asked me to
but-
sell it for her.
What?
She even asked me to sell it for her.
But it was not
Just
in your
a second.
possession. It was in my room.
Madam,
Yes.
if she asked you to sell it for her, then you don't give it away.
Well,
If she says, sell my computer for me, then you sell it. Then you don't say, I can't sell it, so I'm just going to give it away.
I gave it to one of the kids in the family that I thought could use it way more than her trying to use it to bail out her friend from jail.
That's not...
And she owed me a whole bunch
Who
more
died
money.
and left you boss?
Well, me in the house because it was our house.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
You met her in a shelter.
Yes.
How long have you lived in that house that you're currently living in?
August of 2018 to be exact.
Before that, the lease was in my name.
What part of I don't want to hear you? So you moved into his house?
Yes.
Right, so it's not your house.
Well.
It's his house. And since you're not his wife, you're his girlfriend for now, you have no right to sell or give away any of her property, whether you think somebody deserves it more than she deserves it. Hey, that doesn't require an answer. I'm telling you what the rule is.
Oh.
You wanted them to sell your TV,
Yes.
jacket, and all of this is so that you can get him out of jail.
Yes.
Oh.
Alyssa Bolio has accused her brother, Jordan Thompson, and his girlfriend, Carmela Turchiarelli, of wrongfully selling her belongings. Jordan and Carmela claim Alyssa gave them permission to remove her property.
Now, you have no right to go into somebody else's bag. If they gave you instructions and you accepted those instructions, please sell my computer for me, which is what you just said. Isn't that what she just said?
It is what she just said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sell my computer for me, and you decided not to sell it, but just to give it to somebody else in the family who could better benefit from it. You got to pay for the computer. Period.
She owed me money.
Period.
I have the evidence.
Just a second.
Okay.
Just a second. That's a different story. Carmela, let me tell you something, sir. You look like a very nice guy. You look like a very nice guy. I would unload her as fast as I could.
Oh.
I'm just telling you.
Wow.
I'm just telling you. Because first she says, I gave it away. Let's understand what she says. First she said, I gave it away. Then she said, she told me to sell it, right?
Yes.
Then she said, I gave it to somebody who I thought could use it better than she was using it. Now, I'm going to ask you, Kevin, to go get the 2 pieces of paper that she wants me to review that she owed her money, and then I'm going to go back and explain to your lovely Carmela, listen to me, sir.
I'm listening.
Who I would think twice about. Well, I don't see anything about a computer here. I see that you wanted them to sell your TV,
Yes.
jacket, and all of this is so that you can get him out of jail.
Yes.
Oh. I didn't see anything about the computer. I see the TV, I see a jacket.
Here, it's right here.
Just a second. It's not in the ones you gave me, but I'm glad you gave that to me because I have some indication that she did, in fact, ask you to start selling stuff because this is the same person
Yes.
that you went to the cities with.
Yes, and
Yes, when you forgot where you were and woke up in a hospital.
yes.
Okay, found someone who wants that digital graphic computer. So can you put it in the living room or by my door? So you were going to sell your digital computer.
Yes.
Was it his computer?
It was, but he had given it to me.
So you wanted to sell it.
Yes.
And you say, I'm not giving it to you until you pay me what you owe me for childcare, because you felt as if she should pay you more money because you watched the children longer than a week.
And there's a couple other reasons.
And
She owed me
whatever,
the other
and a
bu-
pair
she
of
owed me-
shoes. I don't care anything about that. You have a bill for the computer?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it. No, I don't like this because the date was changed. The date the order was placed was to April 18th, 2022. So this is not a legitimate, it may be a legitimate price, but it says order placed on April 18th, 2022. You want to take a look at that? Because that's phony. Somebody changed that. No, somebody changed it.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes.
When did you get it?
I got it in April.
I don't believe this. Take a look. When did he go to jail?
The 25th
Of
April.
what?
Of April.
And you left on vacation with him when?
A week before Easter, so I'm not really sure.
A week before Easter, Sarah. What's the date?
The week before Easter, the previous Sunday would be the 10th, April 10th.
April 10th. And you were away for a week.
Yes.
And then you don't remember where you were?
No, that was the second week.
That was the second week?
Yes. I was in Colorado for the full week, and I came back the day before Easter, and then I left on Easter Day, and then
And when did you get this computer? You see, that's what I'm asking you. When could you possibly have gotten this computer if the bill...
This is dated the 18th
of April,
which I believe they said was the day she came back.
When could you have possibly gotten it from him?
I ordered it for him. I paid for it, and then he gave it to me.
Listen, I suggest you both get your acts together. You get nothing from your brother. Just consider yourself very, very lucky that he took care of you and that he let you come into his house. I would suggest you not do it again, and maybe she'll get smart. She has 3 children. She'd like to raise them together. She should get a job. Find a way of making a living. Figure it out, because you made 3 children. They have a right to a certain amount of stability.
And they all are stable.
That's not stability.
That is
Get
stability.
it together. Oh, well, sometimes you can't get through to people. They're that kind of thick, and that's why we are where we are in this country. Do you understand?
Yes,
Think
sir.
twice. I know you tried to be a good brother.
Yep.
Think twice about doing it again. By the way, does your mother work?
Yes.
And it mentioned something about a father. What kind of work did your father do?
I don't really remember.
He was a logger.
Both your parents work.
Yep.
Good. Evidently, it didn't rub off. Thank you very much. Your case is dismissed, as is your counterclaim.
This court is adjourned.
I'm okay with it.
She was a friend, and I love her children. And really, it wasn't about her. It was about them kids.
He won't talk to me because of her.
You need a job. You need to
Change.
Something needs to change with her.
I don't really care.
Hopefully she does figure it out. The kids deserve it. He deserves it. He's a good brother.
You know, that case takes me back to my family court days. And I only have one observation, other than the fact that I'm what should be society's frustration with this, which is once you have children, you have the responsibility, your sole responsibility is to make sure that your children are taken care of. You have to say, listen, my social life takes a backseat. Everything else takes a backseat. But I have 3 little kids, and they are my priority. So I have to do whatever I can to put my life in order. And she clearly has her priorities all messed up.
I agree. I think I can understand and empathize with those women who are parents who can't provide a stable environment for their children and temporarily leave them with a mother, a father, a family member, while they can provide for a stable environment, go get a job, go try and find constant housing. But it blows my mind. I can't empathize with leaving your children with family to take care of and then not doing anything to put yourself in a position to care for them.
In a better place.
Yeah.
You're right. I don't have to
Unfortunate.
worry.
Whitney Shepard is suing motorist Rachel Velasquez for property damage.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, everyone.
Hello, Judge. Case 2098, Shepard versus Velasquez.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Ms. Velasquez, I'm going to start with you because the case is unusual and the case really starts with you. You were driving your car.
Correct.
And had an accident on the 13th of February of this year.
Right.
Tell me about it.
I was going west on...
You were driving?
I was driving.
First, at what time did this take place on
It
February
happened
13th?
at about 1 a.m.
Where were you coming from?
From my sister's home.
Anybody else in the car with you?
No.
What day of the week was February 13th?
That was on a Saturday.
So you were at some sort of a gathering at your sister's house?
I was at my sister's house, yes.
How many people were at the gathering?
There was just about maybe 10 of us.
And what time had you arrived at your sister's house?
Saturday, mid-morning.
Did you have dinner there?
Yes.
Any alcohol served all day?
Yes.
What kind?
Just a beer.
I wasn't there.
A beer?
My
Beer?
invitation got lost in the mail. What were you drinking?
I had drank 2 beers, but that, again, mind you, it was at the afternoon.
Just a second.
Yes.
So you had 2 beers?
Yes.
Now you get into the car, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, and you're on your way home, and see what happened.
Okay.
Traveling from your sister's house, maybe I'll make this easier for you. How far a distance is it from your sister's house to your house?
About 20 minutes.
And how far into the trip did this accident occur?
Like 15 minutes.
And tell me about the accident.
Okay, so I seen like a dog or something in the street. So as soon as I seen it.
Just a second. So it's 1 o'clock in the morning, you see something in the street. That's what you said.
Okay, well, it was something, but it turned out to be a dog.
So what did you do?
I swerved to not hit the dog.
Swerved to not hit the something.
But it was a dog.
Well, we're going to get to how you know that. So you swerved to avoid hitting the something, and you went into a house, went over a fire hydrant.
The fire hydrant, actually, when I hit the fire hydrant has pushed me into the house.
Fire hydrant, water, and you went into the house. The force of the fire hydrant didn't send you into the house, madam, unless you're telling me that the fire hydrant went and the water was such force that it pushed your car into the house, which I won't believe. Do you understand? So you swerved to avoid something in the road and were clearly going at such a speed that you went right into a house. Did you go through the wall of the house? That's either a yes or a no.
Yes.
And that's what this case is about. Because Miss Shepard is a renter in that house. And she says that everything of value that she had was destroyed because of the water and inundation. And your automobile insurance company paid the owner of the house for the damage to the house, but did not compensate Miss Shepard for any of her property that was destroyed. That's what the case is about.
Correct.
So now this dog becomes sort of interesting. You have a dog?
I do.
Now, you say that you swerved to avoid something that you subsequently said was a dog. Now you're in the house because that's where the car is. I assume that they had to get you out of the car. Or did you get out of the car on your own?
Yeah, my car was not in the house, but I was out of the car. I got out by myself.
Do you have photographs of the house?
I do.
I'd like to take a look at them. Oh, that's pretty much in the house.
Yeah, she went through 2 walls.
Yeah. Do you know how much money your insurance company paid out to the homeowner?
$5,000.
$5,000. Is this your car?
Yes.
And this is where it landed?
Yes.
Okay, now, you got out of the car, and what did you do?
I got out of the car. My sister, she was there too.
What do you mean your sister was there too?
She was following right behind me because she's the one who she had seen the dog that I swerved to hit. She's seen the dog as well.
I'm talking to you. You got out of the car and?
I went to walk to get my sister.
And?
And we waited for the ambulance to get there.
For whom?
For me.
What was wrong with you?
I had 3 broken ribs.
Where did you wait for the ambulance?
Right in front of the house.
Now tell me about the dog.
The dog, the car came to a stop, I seen the dog run back into the yard.
Yeah. So you're crashing into the front of the house. Your eyes are in front of you. You're crashing into a house. You take down the whole wall when you crashed into the house. And what you're telling me is you crashed into the house, and out of what kind of vision? You went through a wall. How did your eyes get to the backyard? You swerve. You go into, either you swerve because there's something in the road, or you swerve because you weren't paying attention, or you swerve because the beers that you had were too late in the day, whatever the reason that you swerved. But now you're facing the inside of a house. I want to know at what point you saw a dog run to the backyard.
Well, the car wasn't, I didn't hit head on. It was on the side. It was on the left side, the right side. It was on the right side. So when I hit it, everything went to the right side. I didn't hit it straight on, head forward.
This is your car.
But I did not hit it straight
This is
head
your
on.
car. So you're telling me your car was damaged before?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now, I'd like you to tell me, Miss Shepard, I'm sure you have a list of things that were destroyed. You did not have renter's insurance.
I did not.
And what happened when you submitted a claim to Miss Velasquez's insurance company?
Absolutely nothing. They never even got back to me on it.
Okay, I'd like to see proof that your insurance company paid the owner of the house.
I don't have that on me.
You have your insurance card here?
Yes.
Good, I'd like to see it. Did you make a claim?
I did. I did the day on February 14th.
Who owns this car?
I do.
What kind of car were you driving?
It's a 2017 Honda Accord.
Did they pay to have your car fixed?
No.
Did they cover it at all? You had a $500 deductible for collision. Did they pay for your car?
No.
You have medical records?
No, I didn't bring them.
Did the police respond to the location?
Yes.
Were you given a blood alcohol test or a breathalyzer test at the scene?
No.
Do you have a police report?
I do.
I'd like to take a look at it. Okay, arrived at the scene at 2:30 in the morning. This was determined to be a solo vehicle crash with minor injuries involving an impaired driver. That impaired driver would be you, because she wasn't driving her house. Now, Ms. Velasquez, not good form when the police reports. Do you see the police report? Have you seen the police report?
Yes.
Okay, so you know the police report found that you were impaired at the time of the accident. It also indicates that the police officer immediately after the accident questioned you on a gurney in the hospital. And that was immediately after this happened. I'm going to read what it says. Party 1, Velasquez, is riding her Honda at 55 miles per hour while under the influence. It says at the time of your statement, Party 1, that's you, states she attempted to turn left because she was heading to her mother's house, but did not recall how she crashed. Certainly don't see anything about a dog here, only an impaired driver. Okay, and then later you told this police officer that you admitted drinking 3 beers early at her home. Police officer said he asked you whether you felt the effects of alcohol drinks, to which you replied yes. The officer conducted a limited number of field sobriety tests at the hospital, which Party 1 failed to perform. Party 1's objective signs and symptoms of intoxication, and you were placed under arrest.
No, ma'am.
Yeah, I placed Party 1, that's you, under arrest for DUI. This police officer determined that you were drunk, and this police report has absolutely nothing about a dog causing the accident. It has you saying, I don't know what caused the accident. Yes.
And later today.
I don't understand what the issue is. She paid for the tickets. You did not, but you used the vouchers.
I did.
Well, then she's entitled to be compensated for what she paid. I mean, I don't know. This is not rocket science. Am I missing something here?
Whitney Shepard claims motorist Rachel Velasquez owes for property and water damage after Rachel's car ran over a fire hydrant and crashed into Whitney's home.
Something just came through my house. My house exploded. I'm stuck in here. I don't know what's going on. There is a car in my house. Oh my God. They hit the fire hydrant. They went through my house. I no longer have a house.
Okay. Did you receive a citation?
No, I did not.
You didn't?
No, ma'am.
Really?
No.
Well, then you want me to assume that when the police officer said that he placed you under arrest, and I can understand why they didn't remove you from the hospital, that you were subsequently given a citation, but you had to receive some sort of citation from the police, madam, unless you have medical records which indicate that the blood that they drew indicated that there was no alcohol in your system, because this police officer determined that you were drunk. And this police report has absolutely nothing about a dog causing the accident. It has you saying, I don't know what caused the accident. Yes. Okay. Ms. Shepard.
Yes.
The defendant is responsible for the damages done to your property. And so I've seen the extent of this damage done to the house. Were you able to stay in the house subsequent to this crash?
No.
Where did you go?
I got relocated to Corona. I'm renting a room in Corona.
And had you been renting the whole house?
Yes. Yes.
For how long?
10 years.
And what was your rent on the house?
$715 a month.
And in the 10 years that you lived there, you accumulated all your stuff?
Well, that and time before I lived there, but yes.
But for 10 years?
For 10 years,
Were you
yes.
able to take any of your furniture?
I got 3 pieces of furniture, which included my mattress.
That was okay?
It was okay.
Okay.
And I got an armoire that is ruined at the bottom from the water and a dresser that was ruined from the water.
The rest of the furniture in the house, did it belong to you?
It did.
Okay. So you had a table, chairs, eating?
Table and chairs, no couch. It was a small house, 457 square feet.
What about your clothes?
I have not seen my clothes since the day the accident happened.
Did the water infiltrate the house as a result of the fire hydrant?
Yes. I was trapped in that house for 4.5 hours. Me and my dog were trapped in the house for 4.5 hours. My dog was in bed with me, sleeping.
When you left to rent this room, did you take anything with you?
Well, the night the accident happened, when I was trapped for 4.5 hours, I was hiding because the fire hydrant was throwing big rocks onto the roof, and I thought the whole house was coming down. But I kept coming out and filling a backpack with things my grandchildren had given me and pictures of my grandchildren. I didn't even think to take clothes or anything out.
And you went right there to some place where you were relocated? Or did you
Yeah,
go to
I was
a relative's?
relocated immediately. It was red tagged, and it took 68 days to get a yellow tag so I could hire a company.
Do you know how much the landlord got for the damage on this house?
She had insurance, and she's rebuilding right now.
So she had her own insurance?
She had her own insurance, yeah.
Okay. Ms. Velasquez, there's no question in my mind that your mind is fresher at the time of the incident than it is months and months later when you've had a chance to reflect on why an accident is not your fault. You were questioned by police officers immediately after the incident. You responded, actually, to the police officers and told them what happened and told them that you crashed and you didn't know why. The police officers observed your demeanor. They determined that you were operating a vehicle under the influence of alcohol. I don't know whether you have insurance or not. I don't know whether you had insurance on the date of the incident or not. But by your careless and reckless behavior, you've turned this lady's life upside down. She had a little life in a little house where she had all of her property, and you've turned her life totally upside down. She has nothing. And you're responsible for that. So if you had no insurance or if the insurance disclaimed, that would be your problem. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount requested, $10,000. We're finished.
Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
I think it was the correct decision, as it really could be the only decision.
I remember seeing the dog going through, but yeah, it was an accident.
I thought my house exploded, and I was in a house that was going to come down with my dog.
Luckily, I didn't hurt anybody.
I think anybody who would drink and drive isn't willing to take responsibility for their actions.
You know, sometimes you're the windshield and sometimes you're a bug. Sometimes you're both.
As in this case.
That's really a trick. I have no idea what that insurance is.
A lot of fine print, I'm feeling, was probably the issue.
Yeah, but I cannot imagine if it was legitimate insurance, and she had legitimate insurance, except that she's got a $10,000 maximum on any sort of collision. So I don't know what it is. I actually feel sorry for that lady, don't you?
Me too. Everything in 500 square feet in a home that she's built.
And she's comfortable. She was comfortable in that.
No,
And
exactly.
She has nothing. And I didn't see a whole bunch of remorse there.
Nope, me neither.
Case number 2033, Broussard Ferrero versus Stigley. All parties, please step forward.
Tammy Broussard and Catherine Fierro are suing 21-year-old Alicia Stigney for travel vouchers and harassment.
Whose son was it who was living with the defendant?
My son.
Broad strokes, what I get from this. Is that your son?
Yes, ma'am.
Your son became involved, according to you, with the defendant. She has one child with your son and one child with someone else.
Yes, ma'am.
What I gather, there was a time that everybody was happy living together, and I believe it was your brother who was getting married in Las Vegas.
Yes, ma'am.
And the defendant at that time was put in charge of ordering the plane tickets for everyone to go. But the defendant was told to use someone else's credit card. And who was that?
That's Catherine Fierro's.
That was Miss Fierro.
Yes.
Miss Fierro is whom?
I am the fiancée to her brother.
In any event, the wedding did not come off as planned in Las Vegas. Parties did not use the flight tickets that you had booked with someone else's credit card.
Correct.
And you were given travel vouchers, and that's what they're suing for. They want their travel vouchers. That's it. So I just have a few questions. It's not a very difficult case. When you booked the flights for everyone, how many tickets did you book?
It was myself, my 4-year-old. The infant was a lap, so she would not count.
And your boyfriend?
At the time, yes.
Yes.
And then it was also Tammy Broussard, her daughter, and that was all.
Whose credit card did you pay for those tickets with?
It was Cap's.
That's you?
Yes.
And did you pay for those tickets?
They were put on my credit card. Yes, they were, Your Honor.
Did you, in fact, pay for them, is my question.
Yes.
I'd like to see proof that you paid for their flights. And if you have the following month's bill as well, did you ever receive a credit for those flights?
No, I did not. I
On
wasn't
your
aware
credit-
what happened until I asked the son, the flight, the airline, to send me this.
I'd like to see it.
There you go.
Because it's still on your credit card.
Yes.
Okay, so you received vouchers, according to this, that totaled little over $1,000.
Yes.
What did you do with them?
I did use them.
Just a second. You didn't pay for the tickets.
Correct.
So my question is, why didn't you turn the vouchers over to the people who actually paid for the tickets? You booked the tickets but didn't pay for them. Wedding got canceled because of COVID. You got vouchers for what she paid for and you used them without any agreement. What is the issue here? Am I missing something?
Tammy Broussard and Catherine Fierro claim 21-year-old Alicia Stigney owes for travel vouchers and harassment.
Now, did you discuss the vouchers with her?
I did not meet her until, I believe, early February when we left Las Vegas to go to Minnesota. And shortly after meeting her the day that we got there, she called my fiance, asked if we could watch the baby.
No.
But we did have a discussion about it, a slight one.
Only a discussion with you. I don't want to hear about any conversation.
Well, I did bring it up.
Well,
to
I'd
her.
like you to tell me what the discussion was.
When we came to watch her baby for the first time, she went to show me the baby's room where the diapers were, where the wipes are, and she was running around looking for wipes. And I said, I don't want to seem rude, but you do have the vouchers, correct, for the wedding. They were specifically meant for my wedding. And she said she didn't really have time to talk about it, that she was going out for the weekend to Rochester to go out and have fun with her. So she just left very quickly. Then we watched the baby a second time, and I decided to leave a little bit early to get to the house to watch the baby. And when we arrived, she was out the door. So she did not want to talk about it.
That's sort of speculation.
Yes.
I don't understand what the issue is. She paid for the tickets. You did not, but you used the vouchers.
I did.
Well, then she's entitled to be compensated for what she paid.
Your Honor, she also posted on Facebook trying to sell the tickets.
Well, I mean, I don't know. This is not rocket science. Am I missing something here? You booked the tickets but didn't pay for them. Wedding got canceled because of COVID. You got vouchers for what she paid for and you used them without any agreement. What is the issue here? Am I missing something?
I don't think so.
Would you tell me?
Yes. So back last year, I have the agreement. It was sometime, I think June or July. Tammy moved to Minnesota or to Austin.
Don't go off on a tangent. Listen to me.
Her apartment is in my name because she couldn't put it in her name.
Okay. And?
So they said, because later in February, Kat had now moved into Tammy's apartment with Tammy that is in my name.
Okay.
So they, as a thank you, they had said that they did not want the vouchers back, that I could use them. They also said that they would not able to use them before they expired in October of this year.
That is not true, Your Honor.
What do you mean they said? Those are two people.
Yes, Tammy and Kat. I had ran into Kat at Walmart sometime late March, I think it was, after me and the Romaine had broke up.
Whatever his name is, Romaine. Romaine and I broke up.
Yes.
I'm still trying to figure out why you didn't give her the vouchers when you got them.
We were still together, me and Romaine. We were planning on taking a trip this year.
What difference does it make? Were you supposed to pay for the tickets to Vegas?
No.
Was that your agreement, that somebody else was going to pay for them?
They agreed that they'd pay for them, yes.
Is that right?
To come to the wedding, not to go anywhere else, just
to come to the wedding, but the wedding was canceled.
Yes.
Correct.
And we did not speak at Walmart about anything about those.
What I have here are two charges, one for $320 and one for $538. Is that what you spent on the tickets?
Yes.
And ma'am, I have something from June 18th on Facebook where she was trying to sell them on Facebook. And I had...
I actually, Ms. Broussard, don't understand why you're here.
I'm here because there's also a harassment. We have a police report regarding that.
Okay.
As well
Okay,
as
so with regard to your claim, she owes you $858 for the tickets.
Yes.
So that judgment is taken care of. You can have a seat.
Thank you.
The other part of the claim is for harassment. Do you want to tell me when this harassment started? I assume it was after your son and the defendant terminated their relationship. And if you indicated that you had a police report, I'd like to look at it.
Yes, ma'am. Here is the police report. And actually, the harassment had started.
Just 1 second. As far as this police report you gave me, the only thing that's complained about here, really from your end, initially, was the fact that your son's tax money was put in her bank account by mistake.
It was something entirely different because he doesn't have the evidence that he needs with that.
I don't care. I'm just telling you what the document is that you handed me as evidence of harassment. And the document that you handed me as evidence of harassment, the focal point of it is last week his tax return got deposited. Alicia withdrew all the money from the account, and this included $1,500 from the tax return and $1,000 that was in the account. That was the crux of your complaint against her. Well, that's not harassment.
Well, the harassment had started on April 27th, which is like a month after those two had broken up. It was a really nasty thing. I don't know, like it says in there, I don't know if it's coincidental, but she sped through a red or a yellow light, almost hit me once. Her boyfriend had been a total nuisance in my parking lot, blowing the horn.
Listen to me very carefully. If you feel as if you are the subject of harassment, file for a protective order. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. The defendant owes your co-plaintiff $858. Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
I was very nice to them, and they just disregarded all of that.
She's very upset because my son no longer dates her.
There was drugs involved where she couldn't get her apartment of her own.
I pay my own rent, I pay my own bills. I just have bad credit, and it's not even a drug-related thing.
I was nice and put their apartment in my name, and that didn't matter to them.
She's a thief. I mean, those tickets were meant for my wedding, and she used them for something else. It doesn't matter if you're nice or not. You give it back.
I wish they were all that simple.
Yeah, I mean, from reading the papers, I could tell there was some more conflict than I think we got into. But none of that underlying conflict between any of the parties had anything to do with the facts of the case. That she used someone else's credit card, she received a benefit that she did not pay for, and they were entitled to it.
Easy.
Yeah.
Suing his former roommate, Nigel Pine, and her boyfriend, Gallo June, for property damage and stolen belongings.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 2121, GN versus Pine Jaum.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Gwillen, you rented a room in a house that you were renting or that you own?
That I was renting.
It's a 3-bedroom house, and you live there with whom?
At the time, it was me and my sister, and then my cousin.
How long have you been living in that house?
I was living there previously with my sister for about 5 years, and then she then moved, and then it came over to me in 2020.
So you've been living there for 7 years?
About 5 years, yeah.
When did you decide to rent a room?
She came to me around early May, saying that she was going through a situation with her previous roommate.
That would be you.
Sorry, Nigel, yeah. Sorry about that.
How did you know her?
We worked together as servers. But then she came to me on the job saying that she heard that I had a room available and that she was going through it with some of her previous roommates before. She said she needed some place to stay, so I told her that she could stay with me until she got on her feet.
Is that the conversation?
No.
Okay, so let me hear your version of the conversation.
So someone did tell me he was renting a room. I did need a room for rent. As we all know, COVID did happen, so I wasn't in my place I had stayed previously. I was moving. And so I went to him and I said, hey, I heard you had a room for rent. He's like, yeah, girl. And I'm like, yeah, so I could pay, I can move in now, basically. Because I came to him May 31st, moved in June 1st, which was the next day. And he was like, yeah, girl, just pay $800 a month. Just give me $1,000 to move in. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. I'm like, all right, for sure. It's like, it'll be month to month, and that was it. It was never like till you get back on your feet. It was never like a helping hand. I paid to move in with him.
He never said it was a helping hand.
Well, he did just state that I was going to be staying there until I got back on my feet, which was never the case. I was staying there.
But you needed a room.
Yes.
Okay. And the rent was $800 a month.
Yes.
And he asked you for $1,000 up front as security.
Yes.
And when did she move in?
She moved in on May 30th, Your Honor.
When did she pay you for June's rent?
Immediately. So the day that she moved in is when she gave me the money.
So she paid June's rent.
Yeah, she did pay June's rent, yes.
And what about July?
She paid for July's rent as well, yeah.
And what about August?
She did pay for August rent, but she does owe me for utilities. She's about 2 months backed up on utilities.
What about September?
We weren't there for September because the altercation already occurred on August 27th and 28th.
Okay, so she was there for 3 months and she paid you for 3 months.
Yes, ma'am.
Your complaint is that there was an altercation, and at some point during her tenancy, she brought in her boyfriend who's going to uncross his arms,
Yes.
who was living with her.
Mm-hmm.
And when was that?
So she told me previously to her moving in that she did have a boyfriend and that he would be there from time to time. I allowed it. During his stay and while they were there, they were always arguing. It was like commotion, like every other night. He would punch holes in the wall. They would constantly get into like fights. So what happened to how this whole thing got about, one day I had came home and I actually have the messages here.
Those are the messages you had on your phone?
Between me and her men, yeah.
Okay, may I see
So
those?
he was
May I see
standing
them,
outside
please?
of the building. I came home around.
Just a second. I have to read them first, sir.
Yeah.
I don't understand what this is.
So I was pulling up to my house around 7 a.m. in the morning. He was outside sitting on the steps crying and smoking a blunt. He walked up to my car asking if we can have a conversation. I said, sure. He gets in my car, we're talking. He tells me that him and Nija just got into a fight. Nija kicked him out again.
He and his girlfriend got
Yeah,
into
he and his girlfriend Nija had gotten
This
into
was
a
on
fight.
August 27th.
Yes, August 22nd, yeah. So we had the conversation. He told me that Nija...
What were you doing look at me. What were you doing out at 7:30 in the morning?
So me...
No, just...
Me and Nija, like the night previously, we had went out together. We got in pretty late. We were out drinking. We did get into a situation, but it wasn't a situation...
I just want to know what you were doing out 7:30 in the morning. That's my
I
question.
was just leaving and walking to my car.
Did you have a conversation with Mr.
We had
Guillaume?
a brief 2 to 3 minute conversation.
Okay, but you had a conversation with him. Now, you had an argument with your girlfriend the night before, you just said. What kind of an argument did you have with her?
It was basically, we went out, we were trying to have a good time together. It didn't really kind of end up the night how I wanted it to go. She felt how she felt. It was never an argument of, yelling at her or like we were going at it. It was just like...
Well, you had been out drinking.
Yeah.
And when you were out drinking the night before, did you have any altercation with your girlfriend while you were out?
No.
So you had the altercation with her in the house?
It's an apartment.
Okay. Now, he works nights? What were you doing?
Nights and days, yeah. I'm a server bartender, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, he wasn't home when you were having these fights with this argument
Not
with
a
your girlfriend?
fight, not even an argument, but no, ma'am, he wasn't
He
home.
was not at home. And when he came home that morning, you were outside.
I was walking to my car.
He was outside on the steps crying.
I wasn't
Just a
on
second.
the steps.
Sorry.
Wasn't on the steps.
Just a
Didn't
second.
even have a
Sorry.
You have to understand, I move slowly but methodically.
Got you. Sorry, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, do you work?
Yes, I do.
Where?
Security.
Security for whom?
I lied.
What time do you report to work on the 27th?
On the 27th, I went to work late because of the situation that had happened previously that day with the cops, and we have the text messages of me texting my supervisor.
What situation previously that day? He wasn't home. So what situation previously that day?
What happened previously that day was that
Previously what day?
earlier during the day, he had...
That was 7:30 in the morning. You hadn't seen him.
I'm having
It wasn't the 27th.
That wasn't the 27th when that happened.
On
We
the
had the
22nd.
conversation on the 26th. Early coming back, it was 7 that day because we had got into it. I didn't see her at all after me and her had our little falling out. I'm walking to my car. We have the conversation. I go home. with
You
her.
went home for what?
He said that I was living with her. I was never living with her.
You were.
You went home for what at 7:30 in the morning? What did you go home for?
To sleep.
To sleep. So what you're saying is it wasn't on the 27th, it was the 26th.
This altercation that happened with me on the steps, it either was the 26th or the 25th, but this happened way prior before the day on the 27th. The 27th is the day where the first police incident happened, where there was the actual dispute over him and her. He said that she didn't pay the first month's rent, which we have in the police report.
Okay, I've already determined all the rent was paid.
Right, but he has the dates wrong because the 27th is not the day that we got into the altercation.
What was the date?
It was the 22nd.
It was the 22nd.
22nd
of August, 2022.
Yeah. And I'm off Mondays and Tuesdays, so I was off. I went home to sleep after I left the apartment.
So on the 22nd, Your Honor.
On the 22?
Yeah, on 22, which is a Monday morning at 7:30, I pulled into my garage. He was outside crying.
So it wasn't on the 27th?
No, it was on the 22nd, yeah. 22nd in the morning, yes, ma'am. It was 7:30 in the morning. He's sitting there crying. I come in. He asks, can he come in my car to talk to me? We talk. He tells me that him and Nija got into another altercation. She hits him. He stops her from doing what she wants to do. He said that Nija expressed that she's talking to other people and that she just wants him to leave her alone. He then asked me, do I know about her dealing with any men or anything? I tell him I've only seen her with one guy. It was some light-skinned dude who she went to the bowling alley with. But other than that, I didn't see anything. I told him, with me being 25 and him being 20, I said, you're a young man. You have your own car, you got a place, you're doing stuff. You should be living life. You shouldn't be, getting beat or dealing with all this stuff. Just be young and live your life, That's when he then...
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have that sort of a conversation with him?
Not at all.
Okay, tell me what...
The conversation was 2 to 3 minutes. I never entered his car. I was walking out.
No, tell me what you said to him.
I told him that me and her got into it. You might not see me around here. I don't know what the situation is. And he did tell me, focus on yourself. Y'all will be good.
Okay, so it's pretty much, so whatever. That was a discussion. You had a fight with her on the 22nd, and there was some registering some complaint. Sir, if you say you might not see me around here, we had an argument, it was registering some sort of a complaint. You didn't leave there happy on the 22nd.
Yes, sure.
Is this... Right? You didn't leave there happy.
I never was upset, like how he's trying to make it seem. We didn't have this conversation of me being beat on or me crying.
You didn't leave... Mr. Jim, you didn't leave there happy that morning.
Yes.
Is that right?
That's correct.
You had an altercation with her the night before or earlier, and you stopped and had a brief conversation with him. I don't have to get into the nuances of it. You weren't happy. Okay, that's the 27th, and you say you told him you're a young guy. You don't have to...
live your life, yeah.
Live your life.
And then he then thanks me in those messages that I gave you, right?
Okay. Would you tell me what you know with regard to the vandalism?
Once I opened the door, I seen shattered glass all over the floor. His room was completely vandalized. There was a knife in the wall.
Can you explain these photographs to me?
I can't explain the photographs. I didn't do it.
Carlos Guillen claims his former roommate, Nija Pine, and her boyfriend, Gallo June, vandalized his property. Nija is countersuing for a false arrest, tire damage, and cyberbullying.
Now, 22nd moves into the 23rd, 24th. Anything happened the 23rd, 24th, 25th?
On the 26th, I had got a phone call from one of my friends saying that Nija, at the place that we were working at, was going around telling people that I was trying to sleep with her boyfriend, saying that I'm trying to make him gay and that I go for straight men.
Just a second.
All this stuff.
Just a second. That's all hearsay, by the way, unless you have a witness to that.
Yes.
And I assume that you could have a witness to that if you like. Did you, Ms. Pine, have any conversation at work with any of your colleagues about discussions that the plaintiff may have had with your boyfriend?
Yes.
Okay.
Your Honor.
Do you remember who?
It's actually another coworker.
Coworker.
A mutual friend between us.
Okay. And without going into the text of the conversation, were you registering complaints about Mr. Guillen?
Yes.
Okay.
Your Honor.
That's all. That's all that's
So
relevant.
with that being said, that following morning on the 27th, I then walked up to her room around 8 o'clock because, she's living in my house. I'm helping her out. She's talking about me at my place of business. So I went up there to go ask her, what's going on, what's happening. The moment I go up there, she's like, you're this and this and this. We start arguing at this point. Like, we're both yelling at each other. It's getting heated. She then tells me that she's going to have some dudes come and beat me up since I want to argue with a girl and all this stuff. Men then come to my home. 6 dudes come to my house.
How much later after the conversation?
This is probably literally 10 minutes after the conversation. This was very fast. She had these men come to my house. I saw one of the dudes outside. I was trying to, go outside and just be like, look, I'm not trying to do anything to her. We got into an argument. I'm hearing stuff. Gallo, out of nowhere, comes from a corner and tries to swing at me. Once he does that, I then go inside my house, I go into my room, and I look at my window, and it's 6 men outside my home. She then lets these men inside the house. They're banging on my door, talk about bring your outside and all this stuff. Oh, you want to fight women, da, da, da. All this mess, banging on my door and stuff.
Was anyone else in the house other than the two of them?
It was my cousin with me at the time.
That's not your cousin.
No, this is my witness, Imani. It was my cousin at the time.
A witness to what?
A witness to the next day, Your Honor. But back with this day, my cousin was with me. He wanted to go out and fight and do it. I said, no, we're going to sit here and wait. The police end up getting called from the neighbors because it's 6 men outside banging and cussing and making a scene. The police then get there. There was an officer who, I don't know if she already knew previously or who she was cool with, but the officer said that because I'm a 6'8" man and she is a woman, she feels intimidated by me and all this stuff. So he told me that the men who were there is allowed to stay there because she is a tenant there and that's her place, so they're considered her guest. Once that was said, Your Honor, I immediately got everything that I could and I booked a hotel at the Westin. I stayed there at the Westin for 9 days. That day, she was going around on social media saying that I was scary and that I ran in my room and that I called the cops, just basically talking smack about me on the gram. Hold on, Your Honor, I'm trying to find it.
If I may interject, if I may.
Not yet.
All right.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. But she went on social media. It's
Okay,
like,
just a second. So was what you're telling me you don't have that?
It might be in that file, yeah, sorry. But it's like a message of her saying like, oh, y'all won't believe who caught the police and ran in the room crying and like just talking smack, Your Honor.
Okay, here it goes.
Yeah, that's what she posted. Once she posted that and, you know, people start hitting me up.
I see it.
Yeah. Once she started posting that, people started hitting me up. They're like, what's going on, and this and this. So I then went on Instagram and I had made a comment. I called her for short, stands for because she was going around saying that I was dirty. She went around telling that I was dirty, so I just let it be known on social media that the only thing dirty was her. You know, since she was talking about me on the gram, I decided to, you know, react.
The truth of the matter is, although it's not pleasant, that's what people do on the internet.
Yeah.
And
I was just matching energy, you know? Yeah.
Got it. Let's get to your lawsuit, sir. So far, she's lived there 3 months and she's paid 3 months rent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Your claim is that during the time that you were in the hotel, when you were out of the apartment, there was damage done to the property.
Right.
Do you have photographs of the damage that was done to the apartment while you were out of the hotel?
Yes, ma'am.
May I see it, please?
Here you go.
Where did you go when you finally left the plaintiff's house?
After I got my U-Haul, he dropped me off to my uncle's house. And I stayed
On what date?
So I went there the night of the 27th, August 27th, 2022, and I came back the next day on the 28th to get my things.
Okay. So he left on the 27th, you left on the 27th after he did?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you leave as well with your girlfriend? Correct. Where did you go?
I went to my grandfather's house where I was staying
And how long have you been staying with your grandfather?
all my life
Where do you live now?
with my grandfather.
And where do you live?
With my uncle.
When you finally got back into your house, Mr. Gwillian, this is the way you found it.
Yes.
On what date did you come back? Did you find it this condition?
That was August 28th, Your Honor.
August 28th?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I had woke up to a whole bunch of phone calls from my witness, Imani, and a family member saying that they were there, they saw the place.
You want to stand up?
Yeah.
Would you tell me what you know about what happened on the 27th/28th of August with regard to the vandalism?
I wasn't there the 27th, but we had a conversation that led to me coming to the apartment. So I came to the townhouse, retrieved the key to get inside of the house. Once I opened the door, I seen shattered glass all over the floor. His room was completely vandalized. There was a knife in the wall, but this was all like downstairs. Once I realized—
I'm going to show you these photographs, and I'm going to ask you if these photographs are a true and accurate representation of what you saw when you walked in on the 28th.
Yeah. Yes.
May I have them back, please, Kevin? Have you been to Mr. Gwillian's house before?
Yes.
Was it always in good order?
Yes. He's a clean freak.
You moved out on the 28th for how long?
I moved out on the 28th. I didn't come
Permanently?
back after that, yes.
Permanently?
Yes, Your Honor.
Have you seen these photographs?
Yes, I did, actually. His family member sent them to me.
Okay. Can you explain these photographs to me?
I can't explain the photographs. I didn't do it.
Okay. Fine.
I wasn't there, actually, and I have proof I wasn't.
That's a lie, Your Honor.
Just a second.
Yeah, okay.
Just a second.
It's crazy.
She may not have personally done it. The question is, he certainly didn't do damage to his own property.
Oh.
There is no, well, if you have proof that he did
I have
damage
proof,
to
Your
his
Honor.
own property, then I'd certainly like to see it.
I do have proof I was not there, and
I don't care whether you were not there or not.
Okay.
He can't show me he wasn't there, and your brother is not here, and he can't show me he wasn't there. So I have to decide if it was a stranger, the plaintiff, or this side, maybe not you, but someone acting on your behalf.
Carlos Guillen is accusing his former roommate, Nija Pine, and her boyfriend, Gallo June, of destroying his property. Nija claims Carlos had her falsely arrested and damaged her tires.
Right now, I have damage.
what I would like to say,
No, I don't want you to say anything. I want you to tell me what proof you had that
all right, I
he
would like
damaged
to say,
his property.
I would like to restate. I have proof that he did not care about the apartment, that when I moved in, it was in horrible condition, actually, and he's not a clean freak, and I wasn't there to vandalize the apartment at all.
Oh, just a second. I just asked you a question. Can't you give me an answer? It's a simple answer. You said to me, I have proof that he vandalized his property. Is that what you said?
Well, I have, Your Honor, if I may.
Just a second. I want to make sure that that's what you said. I have proof that he vandalized his property.
His property was vandalized when I moved in, is what I'm saying.
Oh, no, madam.
And I did.
Oh, just a second.
She says, I have proof, Your Honor, he damaged his own property.
Okay, so all I want you to do is show me proof that he damaged his own property.
Okay, so I do not have video proof of him doing it, but based on my countersuit and the fact that I was falsely arrested and the harassment, the lies, even the online post that I haven't been able to show you yet, that he is framing me and that he did vandalize his own apartment, he didn't care about it.
Just a second. I'm willing to look at proof of any proof that you have that he vandalized his own apartment.
So around the time...
Not so around, just show me.
Okay, sure. So what I have in my hand here, Your Honor, if I may,
Kevin,
is this proof that before I moved in, the apartment was not well taken care of. And like I said, I don't have proof that he went in and did it himself, but I do have proof that the apartment was never cared about to begin with. And after he actually moved all his things out, which he claimed and stated on social media,
yeah.
he took all his valuables.
You can take these back. This is not what I'm talking about, madam. That's a dirty bathroom that you showed me. This is vandalism.
I didn't do
There is no question in my mind that this is vandalism. This isn't dirty house. It's disgusting. Somebody took powder and liquid. This isn't just sloppy and messy. This is clearly vandalism. So is that all the proof that you have? You said, I have proof that he vandalized his own property. I'm waiting to see that proof because otherwise there are certain things that ring true.
Well,
do you have
as far
any?
as that goes, I would like to recant that because I don't have proof that he did it, but I do have proof that I'm being framed. Yes.
You have to understand, Ms. Pine, there are two things. Either he vandalized his own property, which I find is unreasonable because he would have to live with all this filth that's in his bed.
Well,
I'm speaking. I'm speaking. I would have to find that he took a knife to his own sofa and destroyed the cushions to his own sofa. And quite frankly, I don't know this gentleman well, but he does not appear to be psychotic. Now, I don't say that he may not be a truth teller all the time, but he doesn't appear to be psychotic. So no person who's not psychotic does this to themselves. So either some stranger in the night came in and vandalized his property, or you, your boyfriend, and or your brother, who, didn't you say that you called your brother to come?
I called my father.
Your father to come?
Yes, and my father called my brother, and he came.
Just a second.
Yes.
I knew I heard brother in here. Did
Yes,
your
but I
brother
didn't call
come?
my brother.
Okay. Called at least brother. I don't know if father came too. So I have to find if it was total stranger, the plaintiff, or you, boyfriend, father, brother, friend, whatever it was. So all I'm asking you to do is, do you have any other proof other than the nonsense that you gave me that he caused this serious vandalism of his own house?
I do not have proof that he caused it, but I do have proof I was not there, and
I don't care whether you were not there or not.
Okay.
Do you understand? I don't care whether you weren't there or not. He can't show me he wasn't there, and your brother is not here, and he can't show me he wasn't there, and your father is not here, and he can't show me that he wasn't there. Do you understand? So I have to decide if it was a stranger, the plaintiff, or this side, maybe not you, but someone acting on your behalf.
Lynette Hernandez is suing her neighbors, Pamela Jackson and Ashley Jackson, for filing false CPS reports and defamation of character.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Case 2176, Hernandez versus Jackson.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Hernandez, you and the defendants are neighbors.
Yes.
You more recently moved into the neighborhood?
Yes, on February 25th of 2022.
And you've been living there for about a year.
Year and a half.
I have complaints and cross-complaints. Each one of you are claiming that the other is guilty of harassment. The defendant, in addition to the harassment, says that there was an assault on, that would be on you?
Me.
On you, by the plaintiff.
Yes.
And false police reports, reports to Child Welfare Administration. Each one of you is requesting serious damages as a result of this ongoing harassment and assault. And I gather from reading the papers that when you moved in, the whole bad feeling between neighbors started because of a parking space. Would that be correct?
Correct.
So your car is the white car.
Correct.
Tell me about the problem when you first moved in with the car, and go over to the chart.
Okay. So a month after I moved in, I politely asked Pamela if she
Just a second. Pamela, that would be you.
Yes.
Your last name is Jackson.
Yes.
Okay. So you asked Miss Jackson, whose car is the car parked in front of yours?
Yes, this one.
Okay. So you said to Miss Jackson, go ahead.
I told her if she could please scoot up. We were both pulling in at the same time. We were coming back at the same time, so I thought I could politely ask her if she could just scoot up.
I don't know what that means, and perhaps other people do, but I don't. You asked her to move her car.
Yes, just a little bit forward, because on the handicap, the yellow line ends right there.
No, see, look at me. You asked her to, I see a handicap sign. Mm-hmm. So you asked her to move up.
Yes.
Why?
Because she parks so further back, and when the neighbors park back there, I have to like parallel park, and sometimes I'm in a rush, so I just, want to just get out to go to work or to drop the kids off to school.
So you prefer you don't like to parallel park?
I do, but sometimes it's I just wanted to politely ask her if she could just scoot up a little bit, because she has a bunch of space in the front. Well, so I just thought I could...
I don't see a whole bunch of space. What is handicap? Where is that handicap spot?
Right here in front of her house.
Right there? Mm-hmm. You have a handicap sign?
When I moved in, I was told I could park there because that's the old one. No, I do not.
You do not, so you shouldn't be parking there anyway.
I was told I could because that was the old sign. That's why they dismissed the ticket that she called to get when I didn't move my car.
Just a second. You can't tell me what somebody else said to you. There's a handicap sign.
Police department in Marshall.
What, did you have something from the police department indicating that you can park in a handicap spot?
No, they removed it the next day and dismissed it because of that.
Just a second. Is the sign still there?
No, they removed it immediately.
Okay, fine.
Because
the sign was removed?
Yes.
And what is that alleyway where the trash can is?
That's the driveway for the next door neighbor's
house.
Mm-hmm.
Just a second. So that what she's doing in parking her car there is permitting the trash cans, which are supposed to be out into the street, right? Point to the trash can.
Yes, right here.
So the trash can is supposed to be out in the street. In order to get back to the house, somebody who lives in that back house has to pull all the way around the trash can and her car if she moves her car up.
Your Honor.
It makes it that much more difficult for the person who lives behind.
I understand. For trash day is understandable.
I don't care. She doesn't. You have to understand, Ms. Hernandez, that she didn't have to accommodate you so that you don't have to parallel park.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought I could ask her politely, and I didn't think it was going to be
okay, so let's go back a second. Now you can go back. So that's what started the trouble. You said politely. Tell me exactly what you said to her. Tell me exactly what you said to her, and you said that happened in March. Go ahead.
I asked her, I said, excuse me, can you please scoot up a little bit so that I can parallel park? There was no trash
No,
that
just a
day.
second. I don't care. Trash, no trash.
That's how I
She
asked.
doesn't have to figure Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I have to scoot up my car because she doesn't like to parallel park. Do you understand? Trash day, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Recycling Tuesday and Thursday, but not every week, every other week. So I have to remember to scoot up so that my young neighbor doesn't have to parallel park. It's ridiculous. Okay. It's ridiculous. Is that the way she asked you?
No.
What did she say?
The way she told me was, ma'am, I would appreciate if you would just move around and park in the back. Now, the alleyway, it's illegal to
No, just
park.
a second. She said, let's go slowly.
So
Ma'am.
she said, ma'am, I would appreciate if you would please move around to the back alleyway. I need parking for all my friends and family.
No, true. Your Honor, that's not true.
Yeah, I don't believe that. Sarah, I don't know what this is.
You don't have to keep hitting it. That's the whole video.
Thank you. If I hit it, maybe I hit it on the table.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Well,
that only works with your phone.
It only works on my
Yeah.
phone? Fresh math.
Lynette Hernandez claims her neighbor, Pamela Jackson, filed false CPS reports and defamed her. Pamela is countersuing for an assault.
Okay, she asked you to move. And you said to her, your response to her was, it's a public street, I'll park where I want to park.
I tried to explain to her I have arthritis, so if you'll see, I park where I can walk around my car and go up the walkway.
I don't care. You don't have to justify it to me. I asked you the question. You responded what? What did you...
The way I responded was for...
Think. If you don't remember, say I don't remember. Don't make it up.
I remember because I've stated this the whole time. Every time, even the police have sat there and asked why I parked there because she's called the police over this multiple times. I have even explained to them I park the way I do.
No, I want you to tell me.
I told her, I says, I'm older, I have arthritis, I park where I do to be able to use my walkway. Her response was, you'll have a better access to your walkway if you pull up. I said, no, the person on my passenger side would, then I have to go up in the grass. I need a walkway for stability because I've already had one fall.
Okay, whatever. You told her I can't accommodate you.
Yes.
Your Honor, that's not true because it didn't take that long. She got in her car and she actually got in and she scooted up.
And she moved up a little bit.
She moved up a little bit because the trash can wasn't there.
Okay, so you asked her, ma'am, could you move up a little bit? And so what you're telling me is she accommodated you.
She did.
And she didn't say anything to you.
So I thought it was okay.
And then what happened?
And then whenever I was parking, I got off and I told her, I was like, thank you. And then that's when she got upset.
No. In March, what you're saying is you asked her to scoot up, and she did.
And she did.
When was the next date that something happened with the car?
April 6th, she called the cops for the first time because she parked, that's how she parked. She parked very close to my car, as you can see on the picture. She started parking close to me like that. She called the cops for the first time.
Just a second. That photograph was taken April 6th?
Yes, ma'am.
Of 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you were parked right in front of your house?
Yes, ma'am.
First. And she parked in front of you?
Correct.
And you're telling me that she called the police?
Correct.
Is that correct?
No.
Okay. Show me that she called the police on April 6th.
She did?
She called the police and then she was telling them that...
No. Can't tell me what she was telling them. I want to see where she called the police on April 6th. She said she didn't. Is that what you just said to me?
I called the police. I'm not the one that parked. I was already parked there when she pulled up on me. I called the police because she tapped my back end before she pulled back.
Incorrect.
Okay, so you were parked there already?
I was already there, and it's an ongoing issue for months. She would pull up on me and sometimes tap my bumper.
And you were in the car?
I wasn't in the car. I was inside.
So you just saw her parked very close to you?
I saw her tap my bumper.
Okay, and that's when you called the police?
Yes.
Okay.
And she knew because she was recording me calling them.
Do you have that?
It's even on her TikTok.
I'd like to see.
I do, because she was lying to them and said that I hit her car, and I did not hit her car.
Which shows she was the one pulling in.
Well, but the scenario that she's telling Ms. Hernandez, that she's telling me, is different from what you told me. So let's get it clear. Was her car parked there first or yours?
Mine was parked there first.
And she says hers was parked there first. That means that she would have to back into that spot, whatever it was.
And she did.
Just a second. That's what you want me. She backed into that spot and backed in very close to your car.
Yes.
I don't believe that.
This is.
I don't believe that. That doesn't.
Okay.
I don't believe that. You're going to have to prove that to me, because that would be silly. I see what you're showing me. What you're showing me is consistent with the cars being very close together. But you want me to believe that she actually backed into that spot.
She did.
Oh, it's a video?
Your Honor, she did park like that day.
Yeah. I hope this video will show me that. I don't know what this... Sarah.
Yeah.
Am I getting the whole...
Yeah, you don't have to keep hitting it if that's the whole video. That's it.
Could we do it again?
Yeah.
Thank you. If I hit it, maybe I hit it on the table.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Well,
that only works with your phone.
It only works on my
Yeah.
phone? Fresh math. Yeah, all right, this is useless. Okay, so the police came out, and was there a police report?
I have it right here.
May I have it, please? Who else lives in the house with you, Miss Hernandez?
Me and my 2 children.
Oh, well, that was nasty over a parking space. How unfortunate.
I'd like to see that.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Oh, yes. The officer actually didn't believe her because there was nothing on her car.
Doesn't have to be anything on her car.
But she's
you
making...
you tap somebody's bumper, there isn't always damage. That's close enough for me. Okay, give me the paper back.
The officer did not believe her because she lied. She made false accusations, saying that I was threatening her with a knife and with a baby in my arm. Officer didn't believe her because...
Don't tell me what the officer believed or what the officer didn't believe, madam. It's irrelevant what you think the officer believed. If the officer was here, I would question the officer. Okay, it all started over a parking space. And you have to understand, I'm not sympathetic with you. You move into a neighborhood, something is established in the neighborhood, because I'm sure she didn't wait to park in that spot just when you moved in. That's where she's been parking her car. It's not that you don't have a place to park. You have a place to park in front of your house. Mm-hmm. That's the defendant's house. Her car is parked right in front of her house. Mm-hmm. You have a place to park. Your car is parked right in front of your house. You want her to move to make it easier for you so that you don't have to struggle to park, so you could just scoot in and scoot out.
I just didn't want to risk hitting her car for being in a rush because the people behind me would park pretty close up.
Who cares? It's a public street. I don't care if you park on Mars. Mm-hmm. Then park someplace else on the street. It would bother me if that was my driveway and there was a car that was right up to the edge of that driveway, causing me to have to swing out wide every time I pulled into my driveway. And I couldn't do it during trash days because it's even a wider turn. Also that you didn't have to parallel park. I'm telling you, I'm not sympathetic with that. You're not entitled to a public street parking spot. That's sort of an entitlement that what generation?
Gen Z.
Gen Z. This is going to cause the demise of this country.
Lynette Hernandez has accused her neighbor, Pamela Jackson, of defaming her on social media. Pamela claims Lynette assaulted her with a trash can.
Okay, how old are you?
I'm 27.
You're 27. Well, that makes sense. Is that called Gen X? Is that a Gen X? What is that?
I think it's a Gen Z.
Gen Z. Gen Z.
Yeah.
Gen Z, yes.
Your Honor,
there's a whole bunch of entitlements with Gen Z people.
Your Honor, I don't think it's...
Just a second.
Your Honor, I don't think it's fair that she has called CPS on
Just
me.
a second. We're not talking about fair. Right now, we're talking about parking.
Well,
right now, we're talking about what precipitated this bad feeling. And I agree with you. We'll get to the rest of the harassment, but what I'm telling you is you're off base here. You're not entitled to a public street parking spot that may or may not inconvenience somebody else. You have a spot in front of your house. But if the reason you told her to move her car and the people behind is because you don't like to parallel park, that is sort of an entitlement. I'm just telling you, Ms. Hernandez, that's sort of an entitlement that what generation?
Gen Z.
Gen Z, which is going to cause the demise of this country. There is no entitlement to park right in front of your house comfortably. There's no entitlement to that. You wanted that, you should have bought a house that had a garage. If that started the problem, I'm telling you that you were wrong.
She has a garage.
That doesn't give her license to do bad things. Now, she can call the police if she thinks that you touched her car, which you probably did. You didn't damage it, but you probably touched it because you were annoyed, because that's a constant source of irritation. So I'm not concerned about calling the police. Understand this. I'm concerned about calling CPS, because that's one of the issues here. And Miss Jackson, I believe, in her answer, said she did, in fact, call Child Protective Services.
And I've actually
Just a
got
second.
evidence.
Just
Why?
a second. You called Child Protective Services when?
I made a call in August. Was it August or September?
If you don't remember, you don't remember. You made a call to Child Protective Services based on 2 times.
Twice. Well, there was the most recent one, so it's 3. So the first one.
Just a second. So you called Child Protective Services 3 times?
All 3 times, and I've got video evidence to why.
Okay, I'd like to see the video evidence.
Actually, pull that up. One of them has to do with the fact she was inside, and I'd been outside changing batteries. I went to verify my cameras, picked up the audio. She had been yelling at her daughter, threatening to beat her up.
Okay, just a second. The first time you called Child Protective Services was in August or September of 2022.
Correct.
That's what you said. Why did you call Child Protective Services the first time?
The first time was I saw her kind of shove her daughter backwards.
You have that on tape?
Did you find the tape on that one?
Yes. I'd like to see it.
Your Honor, they did not call CPS in August.
Just a second. She says she did. August or September.
So she's trying to claim earlier that I called in February, but that wasn't me. She had another situation going on. She even told the cop, if it hadn't been for her telling me not to move my car, she wouldn't believe I was the one that called.
Okay.
Because she called the police on that.
I don't see anything sufficient for you to call CPS the first time on that. That was a motion with a hand. Child didn't fall.
There had been a bunch of yelling out before that.
I don't care. That's an overkill. What's next? When's the next time you called?
The next time I called, and she's got the video. She can pull up for you. She was inside. I was changing my battery. She yelled at her daughter to get down.
Where was her daughter?
They were inside.
So you heard her yelling at her daughter?
Heard her yelling at her daughter to get down, or next time she does it, she's going to beat her up, and then we heard break your neck.
Okay, and you videoed that?
Yes, we even showed that to the police.
Okay,
Your Honor,
I'd like to see it. Looking at it, so far you... You hear anything?
She says,
Your Honor,
I'm gonna
that's
beat you
not
up,
me.
and if you don't listen, I'm going to break your neck.
Okay. How old is your daughter?
That's not me. My
Who is
daughter's
it?
7.
Whose voice is it coming from your house?
It's not me. It's the neighbor that was on the corner.
What?
That's not me. My daughter's name or my son's name is Cam. She said, Cam.
No, she didn't.
You could listen to it again, and it's going to say Cam. That's not me. That was the person that's in the...
Nobody
Want me to
has
just
any
listen
kids.
to it?
Yes, they do.
And she says, hey. Get off the couch right now. I'm going to beat you up. Stop playing. Okay. I'm going to break it. Oh, she says you're going to break your neck.
You're going to break
You're
your
going
neck.
to break your neck.
Yeah. Okay.
That's not me.
Second time. Just a second. Second time. Would I, based on that, she didn't say, I'm going to break your neck. She said, you're going to break your neck.
After she threatened to beat the child up, I'm actually a victim of child abuse.
I'm sympathetic with that, and I'm sensitive to that. I still think that that's a little bit of overkill, Miss Jackson. Let's go further.
To be continued. Her former friend and handyman, Brandon Hall, for check fraud and filing a false restraining order.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, everyone.
Hello, Judge.
Hi.
Case number 2046, Rapp versus Hall.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Rapp, not a very difficult case. The defendant was a friend of yours / did some work for you. It's not really relevant how you met him. It was sort of through a social situation. And it is your claim that over a period of time, Mr. Rapp forged your signature to several checks.
Correct.
And then when confronted by the fact that you've discovered these forgeries and asked him for money, he filed a restraining order against you to keep you away from him, and you say that the restraining order was a false one, and you want to be compensated for having to deal with that.
I do. I missed work.
Just a second. So I'm going to deal with the restraining order first. When did you file a restraining order, Mr. Hall?
I believe it was the 17th of July.
Of this year?
Yes, ma'am.
So not so long ago. I'd like to see the paperwork that you filed in support, just the paperwork that you gave to the court in support of your restraining order, why you were asking for a restraining order.
Okay.
Don't tell me, is that what you filed with the court?
Yes.
I'd like to see. So let's just be clear. You filed all these documents with the court when you asked for a restraining order?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I've read some of the text messages, and you're aware of what the text messages say.
Yes.
I assume you're aware of what they say. Uncross your hands.
Oh, yes.
And that part of your application for damages as a result of filing a false restraining order is denied. You can't even suggest in a text message that you're going to do something violent in order to get him to pay money that you owe. Do you understand that?
I do.
Okay, so as
Although
frustrated...
the restraining order was dismissed.
It doesn't matter. I'm telling you, I've read it, and some of your text messages sound threatening.
I was angry.
I understand you were angry. The question is not whether he should be granted a restraining order. I don't have to deal with that. I have to deal with the fact that in the text messages, you make certain threats. What if I could? And all that transpired at a time when the defendant reconciled with his wife and family. So, as I said, as a result of reading your text messages, I believe that Mr. Hall had the right to feel threatened and to file for a restraining order. Whether the court that heard the application for a restraining order felt that your behavior warranted a restraining order is another thing. But I can understand why he would file a restraining order to try to keep you away from him and his family.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Sorry.
Great! Now I want you to tell me why you forged her name to checks.
Because she...
$8,800 worth of checks. Now you had the right to file a restraining order.
Because she asked me to do this.
Because she asked you to forge her name to the checks.
Yes.
Okay, I want you to tell me when the first time she asked you to forge her name to a check. And I assume, just like you've kept all these documents.
Yes, ma'am.
You have a document to show me, just one. Because if you show me one, I would tend to think that there are more. So just show me one where she said to you, forge my name to a check.
Okay.
Take the money out and forge my name to a check. Don't say anything. Just show me. Don't shake your head. It's annoying.
I believe this is the first one.
Okay. So in that one, she asks you to sign. Well, maybe. What are you showing me?
The check.
I don't want to see the check. You know how you kept these text messages that you texted back and forth and back and forth? I want you to show me, because you're methodical. one time out of the 6, 7 times that you forged her name to checks, show me one time where she said to you in a text message, in an Instagram, in a pigeon note, where she said to you, take out a check from my checkbook and forge my name to it because I want you to have money. Just show me.
I don't have
Of
something
course
like
not.
that. No.
Of course
No,
not.
I don't.
Now, the first time you forged her name to a check was what month and year?
I believe that it was December 9th.
Of 2021.
Yes, ma'am.
And what were you and Miss Rapp engaged in at that time that she told you to forge her name to a check?
Okay, so I'm an electrician, and I've been an electrician for 13 years. I've been doing side work all around my county, and there's a handful of liquor stores that trust me that I can go and cash personal checks that I get paid for doing my side work. Miss Rapp knew that, and...
Don't tell me what she knew.
Okay, all right. So she would be locked out of her account for one reason or the other, and she would ask me, like on a Friday, she wanted to be able to get access to her money, and I knew she had money.
Well, she couldn't get access to her money, so these weren't your checks you wrote out. You wrote out her checks. It'd
Right.
be frozen out whether you went to take out money or she went to take out money.
Right. Also, on a Friday, the liquor store would not deposit these checks until Monday. So I cashed these checks for her to give her cash.
Did you ever have sex with the plaintiff?
No.
Do you think she wanted to have a relationship with you?
I think so. Okay. I don't know.
What makes you think so?
Well, the
text message.
The text message.
The text message that she
Yeah.
said to you. And who is Robert?
Is her ex-boyfriend?
And do you know Robert?
I do.
How do you know Robert?
I'd known Robert for 20 years, been friends.
And when did you start doing work for the plaintiff, before or after Robert? Is not an answer.
It was after.
It was after.
Yes.
Okay. Give me an idea of when. You've cashed the first check in December of 2021. Give me some idea of when you were aware of the fact that the plaintiff and your dear friend of 20 years were no longer an item. Is not an
I
answer.
don't know what month he was arrested. So
Arrested for?
June, maybe.
Arrested for?
I don't know his charges.
I don't believe that.
Okay.
I want to see only with those forged checks, you would have put the money in her Venmo account.
Your Honor, I don't see where I have the ones that I deposited in her account. These seem to all be her depositing into my account.
Duh. You were happy she left.
No, ma'am.
You wanted her to stay.
No, ma'am.
Then you were happy she left.
No.
Then you're a masochist. Somehow you want to live with somebody. You want to live with somebody who's messy, floods your apartment, weren't a good fit, and yet you were happy with that.
Leslie Rapp claims her former friend and handyman, Brandon Hall, forged her checks and filed a false restraining order against her. Brandon says he had Leslie's permission to write the checks.
I'm just telling you, I don't believe that you don't know the charges of somebody who you were friendly with for 20 years and who was arrested. I don't believe that you don't know, because it belies credulity, okay?
That's fine.
So before your dear friend of 20 years was arrested, did you ever cash any checks for her?
No.
After Robert was arrested? Yes. Did you ever do any work for her before Robert was arrested?
No.
When did you and your wife separate? Month and year.
Maybe February of 21.
And were you still together with Robert in February of 2021?
Yes.
And when did you and the lovely Robert separate?
Robert was removed from my life August 11th of 21.
The defendant acknowledges in his answer that he forged your name, not only your name, your signature, but wrote out checks, actually wrote out in his own handwriting, checks in the amount of $8,800.
Yes.
And he acknowledges that, but he says they were because you asked him to, or it was for work he did for you. Those were your answers, right?
No, these checks were not for any jobs that I did for her. They were strictly to get access to some of her money during the weekends and stuff. And then when she was out of town as well.
Get her access to her money and when she was out of town.
When she was out of town,
if you cashed her checks when she was out of town, how did she get money?
I Venmo'd the money to her.
Okay, so that you have a record of, that you Venmo'd the money to her.
Yes.
I'd like to see it. I'd like to see it.
Here you go. Here's all the Venmo deposits. Her sending me
To
money.
her. No, not just a second. Try not to confuse me. I'm an old person. I want to see only the monies, because she's going to show me the checks that you forged. And contemporaneously, which is a close period of time, with those forged checks, you would have put the money in her Venmo account.
On a couple of different occasions, yes.
Just a second. Just show me those cases. She's going to take out the checks that you forged. And those checks should coincide date-wise with the Venmo transactions. Am I doing that right?
Venmo. Yeah.
Venmo.
Yes.
Your Honor, I don't see where I have the ones that I deposited in her account. These seem to all be her depositing into my account.
Duh.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I do have.
So let us understand this, Ms. Rapp. Did you ever give him permission? The answer is yes or no.
No.
Did you file a police report?
Yes, I did.
You did. I'd like to see a copy of the police report.
I haven't.
Then we're in good shape. Mr. Hall, how many weekly payments did you make to her on Friday?
I have a list of that from.
From February.
This is from Mrs. Rapp in.
No, I'm asking you. I'm asking you, how many payments did you make for writing these unauthorized checks to her?
Seven.
And what was the total amount of those checks?
$3,700.
Why in the world would you pay her $3,700?
If you could look in those messages, I was being. She was saying she was going to put me in jail for doing things.
For forgery.
Okay.
For forgery.
Right.
And you asked her not to.
Right.
And you said, I'll pay you back.
Right.
Right. I'll pay you back. Just give me some time. I have 2 kids to support.
Right.
Is that what you said to her?
Yes.
$8,800 judgment for the plaintiff. We're done here.
Is adjourned.
Well, I'm happy about the outcome because
I think it's bogus, man.
I really need the money.
Because she started all this craziness as soon as I went back to my wife.
There was never a relationship between the two of us.
After that, when she started doing all this, is when I went and filed for a restraining order.
He did that as a direct retaliation for the police report I filed.
She's gonna have to call somebody else for sure.
It's definitely time for a new handyman.
Just a casual note. Yeah. I have been with my husband, your grandfather, for almost 50 years. And we each have our bank account, and then we have a joint bank account. I have never either asked him or given him permission to sign my signature to a check. Yep. He hasn't never asked or given me permission to sign his signature on one of his checks. Mm-hmm. Now, we may ask each other, listen, it's busy, I'm going to go through these checks. We're making all these checks out to the doorman and to Christmas time and whatever, and then I'll sign them. Just doesn't happen. So
Doesn't make sense.
Right. And so what it is to any job that you do, whether it's a lawyer or a judge, you bring with you your own common sense and your own life's history. I hope that works, because I cannot imagine somebody saying, write out a check for yourself. I don't know you, we're not involved, we're not married, go help yourself to a check and write it out. I can't imagine.
Case number 2029, McCray versus Onwaka. All parties, please step forward.
Brittany McCray is suing her former roommate, Lulu Onawaka, for a rental deposit, moving costs, and lost wages.
Miss McCray, you were looking for a room, and you rented a room in defendant's apartment. It didn't work out. You were unhappy. She was unhappy. You moved out. And now you want return of rent, deposit, moving costs, lost wages, and emotional distress. She also said, didn't work out. We didn't like each other. It just wasn't a good fit. So you were happy she left. That's either a yes or a no. You were happy she left.
No, ma'am.
You weren't happy you wanted her to stay.
No, ma'am.
Then you were happy she left.
No, ma'am, I wasn't happy she left.
Oh, let me see. Let's see. Okay, this is what you say. Brittany, that would be you.
Yes.
This is your answer. Was messy, played loud music, brought friends in unannounced, damaged the washing machine which flooded our apartment, and without consent offered to adopt someone's dog. After that, I let her know we weren't a good fit and would not be renewing her lease.
No.
Now, that's what you said.
We'll not be renewing the lease for the
No,
apartment.
no. Doesn't matter. I just read you something. I read you your answer. Now, does that sound somebody that was happy with their roommate?
I define happiness for myself. I've lived in co-living where I've had to live with people I do not like.
What?
And make it work is what I'm trying to say. So
No.
that wasn't the issue.
The damage she's referring to was actually me attempting to change the locks on the door.
Lock
I was
on the
trying
door.
to change the lock because during my time away, all of my belongings were still in the property.
Did you damage the door?
Brittany McRae claims her former roommate, Lulu Onawaka, owes for a rental deposit, moving costs, and lost wages. Lulu is countersuing for property damage and storage fees.
Brittany was messy, played loud music, brought friends in unannounced. She damaged the washing machine, flooded the apartment, and without my consent offered to adopt someone's dog. After that, I let her know we weren't a good fit and wouldn't be renewing the lease. That's what you wrote. Do you want me to show that to you?
No, you are right, and that is what I wrote.
Absolutely. Well, then I don't know why you have a passive-aggressive attitude, because I'm the only one who's passive-aggressive. Then you were happy she left.
No.
Okay, well, you're ridiculous. Then you're a masochist. Somehow you want to live with
Probably
somebody.
I am.
You want to live with somebody who's messy, loud, floods your apartment, weren't a good fit, and yet you were happy with that. And I don't have to define happiness.
Yes.
I know that if I lived with somebody who was messy, sometimes loud,
Okay, to each his
he
own.
broke the dishwasher and flooded the apartment because they put regular soap instead of dishwashing soap into the apartment, then it sort of bubbles all over. Now, unless I was either married to that person or they were one of my family, I wouldn't be happy with them. If I had a tenant like that, I would say, oh my God, what did I get myself into? I want out of this.
Okay.
But you were happy.
No, I wasn't. I stand on that.
Okay, then you weren't happy.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's what I asked you. You could have saved me all this dramatics. All right, so there we go. You were living in a room.
Yes.
You paid a month's rent.
I did.
Okay, how much rent did you pay?
I paid $1,300 and a $300 deposit.
And you lived there for about a month.
I lived there for 26 days.
And things didn't work out. You had a big argument with her back and forth. And as a matter of fact, according to you, you left for a couple of days.
I did.
Yes, because you were unhappy there and felt threatened, felt uncomfortable, whatever
Very
it
much
was.
so.
So you left for a couple of days. And when you came back, what was your intention when you came back?
So
No, look, not so. Look at me. You left because you were unhappy. You came back. What was your intention when you came back?
I never left because I was unhappy. I left because I was evicted from the property by the defendant.
Just a second. So you didn't leave the apartment after this disagreement?
Yes,
You did?
I did.
Okay. Where did you go?
I actually stayed with my friend.
So you left?
Yes.
On what date?
I left on June 1st.
You left the residence and stayed with your friend?
Yes.
And you stayed with your friend after the argument?
Yes.
Why?
I'm able to provide some backstory on
I don't need
the
any backstories.
encounter.
I'm just trying to get to a mindset of why the two of you think that you have a lawsuit against each other. Why do you bother wasting your own time, wasting precious court time when you weren't happy in the apartment, you paid for a month's rent. Certainly, you're entitled to your security back if you cause no damage to the apartment. You lived there practically a month, and you're not entitled to any more money because she didn't give you 30 days' notice because you were just as happy that
She had
left.
abandoned properties.
What?
She had abandoned properties.
Okay.
She damaged the door, and I lost my deposit as well because of that.
Just a second. Damaged what door?
So,
No, just not so. Damaged what door? That's a door. An outer door, a door to her room?
Yes.
The door to her room?
Yes, she did that.
You have a photograph of the damage.
Yes,
I'd
I
like
do.
to see it.
Please bear with me. I'm going to find it quickly.
The damage she's referring to was actually me attempting to change the locks on the door. I left after I had been informed by the
Just a
defendant.
second. So you acknowledged the door was damaged while you were trying to change the lock
I
on
was
the
trying
door?
to change the lock because during my time away, all of my belongings were still in the property. Correct.
Listen to me. Did you damage the door?
No, the doorknob was removed, but the door is not damaged.
The lock was removed.
The lock was removed.
All right, I'd
so
like
that
to see.
The defendant would no longer have access to my room, to which she actually did enter my room while I was away.
Okay.
I left because the defendant actually informed me that I would need to get out by that date. after requesting a full month of rent, despite me not having even lived in the property for the original month of rent that I had paid for.
I don't care. Unless you can show me the damaged door and how much it was to repair it, and I want to see how much it was to repair it.
I don't have how much it was, but here is the lease agreement, and we paid $2,900 to be here for the security deposit.
Oh, she just took this out. That's nonsense. That's nothing.
I wasn't still able to get my deposit
Nothing.
back.
The agreement
I got
that I...
$1,700 back.
Understand this.
Okay.
This is not damage to the door. She took out a cylinder. All you have to do is put it back. Unless you have a receipt for somebody putting it back, you get
No, but
nothing.
that's what I'm saying. We didn't put
you
it
get
back. We
you
didn't
get
put it back.
nothing.
It's a maintenance request at the property.
I didn't ask you a question. You're entitled to your $300 security back.
That wasn't the security. That was for key and cleaning, and she was aware of it.
$300 security deposit. By the way, are you allowed to sublet rooms in your apartment? That's a yes or a no?
No.
Just a, hey,
No,
hey,
no,
don't
I
look down.
wasn't. No, I
don't look
wasn't.
down. So the answer is you are not allowed to sublet rooms in your apartment.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, you are not allowed to sublet rooms in your apartment. She gets her deposit back. We're done. Thank you very much.
Court is adjourned.
I didn't concede to her requesting me to clean out a garbage at the apartment, and at that point, she lost her entire senses and asked me to move out of the apartment. Always pick your roommates more carefully.
Okay, so I don't have anywhere to go really on this case except to suggest that people who feel good, look like they have a job, look as if life is otherwise okay for them, and they move into this rental situation, which is very difficult. I never could understand it, to move in with a stranger in an apartment and just rent a room when you don't even know whether you're compatible, whether you have similar interests, similar time schedules. I always thought that was fraught with danger, and it keeps me in business here. But here you have two women that were both unhappy. You had an unhappy tenant, an unhappy landlord. You had a lease, but both of them were unhappy. It really didn't cost either of them anything. Plaintiff says she didn't get 30 days notice, so she should be compensated for $5,000 and her moving costs and storage
fees, some other things. It seemed like a wash to me when I read the papers, and to have your happiness after the end of constant struggle or battle with each other seemed like a win to me, but apparently it wasn't enough for them.
Apparently not. Well, unfortunate. But she's entitled to a security deposit back. She lived there for almost a month.
And Trayon Dupree are suing their customer, Brianna Freeman, for rental car damage and lost wages.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, everyone.
Hello, Judge. Case 2174, Brown Dupree versus Freeman.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, who's the business person?
It's us.
That would be you?
Yes.
Your name is Mr. Dupree.
Mr. Dupree.
You a couple?
No, ma'am. It's business partners.
In what business?
Car rental.
How do you know each other?
We met from the military.
So you're not a couple, you're just in business together. I just want to know. Don't both smile. I just want to know. Let's go.
We're friends.
Yeah, we're friends. We're friends.
What? This is not going to happen for me.
We're not a couple. We know we're friends, you know, and we decided to go in business together.
Where do you live?
Houston, Texas.
Where does she live?
Houston,
Where does
Texas.
she?
Houston, Texas.
Does she live in the same place that you do?
In the same home?
In the same place, building?
Oh, no, we don't.
Who do you live with?
Myself.
Who does she live with?
Herself.
When did you meet in the military?
Maybe 2021. Not really sure exactly what month. But...
Now, if you're in business together, is the only business you had this one car that we?
Yes, we was just starting.
What kind of work do you do?
Crane operation.
Full time?
Yes.
And what about you?
I work at a call center.
So that's your primary source of income?
That's correct.
Yes.
And you decided to do this car rental as sort of a side gig?
We had just got out the military, so we didn't have a job then. So we did it for a primary source of income.
Well, you can't have one car that you rent as a primary source of income.
We have our military disability check as well, so we have that. And we
How long were you in the military?
Almost 9 years.
And you?
8.
Where did you serve?
Norfolk, Virginia, and Mayport, Florida. Jacksonville, Florida.
So you were never out of the United States?
Yes, I went overseas for deployments, but never stationed.
But where did you go on your deployment?
Bahrain, Dubai, Greece, Italy, And all over.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it was a great experience.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
What about you?
Only Virginia.
Only Virginia?
Only Virginia.
How did you become disabled in Virginia?
I have no idea.
I mean, you said you're on a military disability, so, I could understand if you deployed someplace else.
I have no idea.
You have no idea what?
Why, I guess, became disabled. Just mentally, I guess. Mental.
Well, you applied for a disability from the Army.
You said what?
What?
I said mentally.
Just my own curiosity. I have to see how this is going. How much is your disability benefit from the Army?
$2,000.
A month? It's not an answer. Yes is an answer. What about you?
Same.
And is your disability mental or physical?
Both.
Well, your physical disability doesn't inhibit you from being a crane operator.
No, not really.
Great. I love America. Okay, so now you're out, you're both on disability from the Army. You don't have a job yet, so you decide to buy a Mercedes.
That's correct.
What year Mercedes?
2014.
And how much was it?
$22,000.
Is there a note on the car?
Yes.
For how much?
$350.
Per month?
Yes.
How much of a loan did you take out?
23, one of them. It's not too much.
Car was only 22.
The car was 22.
I don't know the exact number that the car is right now, but it was between 21 and 23,000 that we owed on it. And I took the loan out.
Where is the car now?
In Texas.
With whom?
She has it right now.
What was the rental agreement that you had with Miss Freeman? You didn't form a business corporation or anything else, am I correct?
Yes, we have LLC.
And the sole asset is this car?
Yes.
You bought the car when? Give me the date again.
I think it was in July.
July of 2022?
That's correct.
And when did you rent the car to the defendant?
August 27th.
Do you have the rental agreement?
I don't have the original agreement because it was in my car that was stolen, but I made her take a picture with her driver's license and send it to me. So this is a copy, and this is before she signed it.
And I have after I signed.
It's literally the same thing.
Yes.
And so you know you.
Let her talk.
Okay. What I'd like you to do is take a look at this, Ms. Freeman, and tell me if you have it. It's the same.
Yes,
what is she
ma'am.
had? Okay. And this is the entire agreement. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I don't know why you're arguing. It doesn't appear, madam, it doesn't appear as if you are losing this case. So I don't know why you feel compelled to make it hostile.
Selena Brown and Trayon Dupree claim their customer, Brianna Freeman, owes for damages to their Mercedes rental car. Brianna is countersuing for lost wages.
So there's nothing in this agreement that prevents her from allowing somebody else to use the car, and the agreement specifically says that if anything happens to the car, she is responsible to use her insurance, and you have a policy number, your policy number for insurance. Okay, so your boyfriend was driving the car on what date?
The 1st.
First of what?
September. And I have the accident report if you want that.
Not yet, I may. Not yet, but there was an accident and the car was damaged.
Correct.
Anybody have a photograph of the damage to the car?
I have it on my phone if you would like to see that.
I would.
While we're waiting, Your Honor, I found the LLC filing that lists both of them as the
principals.
As the principals, but they list the same address for both of them. Their residents are listed as the same.
Oh, really? Interesting. Want to say that a little louder?
I just said I found both of them listed as managing members of the LLC with the same address for both of them listed.
I lived in a different state when we started. I was in Florida.
We don't live together. That's what y'all are saying.
It just lists.
Yeah,
lists
that's just the
place of business
LLC
as well.
address.
It's in my boyfriend's phone because the number that's on the contract was his phone at the time. So if you want to see.
I had a picture right here.
And I have multiple pictures as well.
Of the car?
That's correct.
Well, that's what I'm asking you for. I said I want to see pictures of the damage to the car. You were in an accident?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you agreed in this contract that if you were in an accident, Brianna, that would be you.
Yes.
Will use her insurance if anything happens during the rental. Brianna will be responsible to pay out of pocket.
Correct.
You signed that?
Correct.
Okay, so you were in an accident. I don't care whose fault it is because it doesn't have anything to do with fault. Picture of the car.
It's
another paper picture.
It's a couple pictures, so you can just check as well.
Stand up. Somebody hit you in the rear?
No, in the front.
Oh, this is the front of the
They ran
car.
a stop sign.
What?
They ran a stop sign. I was coming up. They were coming across.
Well, whatever. You got damage in the front of your car. In my mind, that usually means that you hit somebody.
No, they came across from me. They ran a stop sign in front of me.
And you hit them. Okay, well, that's what it usually means, that you hit somebody in the front. Okay, and that was on September 1st.
Correct.
Did you notify your insurance company?
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to see proof of that.
So these are the claims, the quotes they gave me to fix the car. Also, this is when I let her know, Ms. Brown, what was covered under my policy.
I'd like to see it.
So that's that. It shows what's covered in my policy.
Was the car fixed?
Absolutely not.
No.
It was not?
Not at all.
Why not?
Because I didn't talk to Trayon, Mr. Dupree, however you say his name, until the day, September the 5th. All of my business was going through Mrs. Brown. So I don't know if he just found out what happened. But when I called the insurance on the 1st, they let me know that he was the owner of the vehicle. I said, okay. They said they'll have to go through everything through him so that the car can get fixed because I wasn't the title holder. I said, that's fine. I said, okay, due to the fact that the car got wrecked, I let her know that once the car goes to Mercedes-Benz to get fixed, they give a loaner vehicle. I let them know everything that was covered. Why it didn't get fixed? Because she popped up to my home and caused drama. I lost my job behind it, so forth and so on.
What does that have to do with your responsibility? Your boyfriend had an accident with a car. You have a contract that says you're going to fix it.
Because Trayon said it wasn't enough.
What do you mean Trayon said it wasn't enough?
I sent him the quote for their adjusters, and he said that wasn't enough to get it fixed. And I have that text message from Trayon.
Just a second. I'd like to see your quote from your company. Where did you take the car for them to send an adjuster to take a look at the car?
I had to take pictures of the car and upload it to the app they sent me, and that's how they got those quotes.
They have an estimate here of $3,000. Did you get an estimate to fix the car?
Yes, we got an estimate.
I'd like to see it.
In person.
In person. That was just the picture, and when I
Okay,
talked...
got it.
May I interject a little bit? Because Brianna kind of lying, and she raised her right hand. So Brianna didn't notify us that the car was wrecked until September 3rd. She told us that she was in the hospital with her dying father.
Listen
correct?
to me. Listen to me. I don't care.
She lied about
I don't care.
She lied about how the car got wrecked.
I don't care. It doesn't matter how the car got wrecked. She has an obligation to fix it. She has an obligation to fix it. And to be quite honest with you, this is a Mercedes, and this car can't be fixed for $2,900. Can't. He's absolutely right. This car can't be fixed based upon that damage. And he wasn't prepared to say here.
No, it wasn't that at all. So once, I guess, he got involved in the business, I was talking to Ms. Brown. She said she had a rental the next day or something in that manner. And I said, okay, well, let me find a Mercedes-Benz that can actually get your car in so you can get this loaner car for you to rent your car out. Also, in the midst of that, I was gonna pay for the rental that she had that was so much one to cancel on her. So I said, okay, Mercedes has a loaner car and can accept your car at the time.
Well, they couldn't fix this car for $2,900.
That's what they gave me, and they said that if it went to a Mercedes-Benz shop, they will honor that.
I don't know that at all.
That's what they told me.
I don't care.
But regardless of the price of getting the car fixed, I was gonna pay because I know that we was at fault for it. Quote unquote, it was my contract that I signed. That wasn't an issue.
Well, then you can take that up with your insurance company.
Correct. I didn't have a problem with paying.
Yeah, then you can take it up with your insurance company.
She lied about how the accident happened. So they denied.
Don't listen to me. You started to say that before. I told you I don't care.
She's just lying and cost us so much money. Like,
Madam, listen to me. You okay? Good.
Selena Brown and Trayon Dupree have accused their customer, Brianna Freeman, of damaging their Mercedes rental car after her boyfriend was in an accident.
He has an estimate that looks like a pretty legitimate estimate. They bought the car. It's a relatively new car. They paid $22,000 for it. Your boyfriend wrecked it, and he has an estimate which looks reasonable for $8,000 to fix it. And if your insurance company is dragging their heels and not paying what they should, you take that up with your insurance company.
I never got that quote, by the way.
Which quote?
The quote that the $8,000. I never got that.
Well, I'm going to show it to you.
Oh, it's probably be true.
$8,319.
her insurance denied it because she lied. She lied about how the accident happened. So they denied.
Don't listen to me. You started to say that before. I told you I don't care.
My insurance.
Just a second.
Your insurance what?
Never denied the claim.
I have proof. I talked to him. I have proof. I have the email where he said they denied it because.
They definitely denied it.
Because I told them to stop because she popped up at my house.
Because she lied about the accident. Because we tried to get it through our insurance as well.
I don't know why you're arguing. It doesn't appear, madam, it doesn't appear as if you are losing this case. So I don't know why you feel compelled to make it hostile. I don't understand why.
She's just lying and cost us so much money. Like,
madam, listen to me. We're all told. You okay? Good. Your car is in this condition at whose house? At your house?
That's correct.
And the car, since the accident, which was 4 months ago, has it been rented? No. Is it drivable?
Yes, it's drivable.
When was the last time you drove it?
Last week.
When was the last time you rented it?
Since Brianna.
Have you been making the payments on the car?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Who's been making the payments?
Both.
What is the monthly payment?
$350.
$350. You told me that. The insurance up to date?
So we had insurance. We had commercial insurance on it. But when I put in the claim and told them what happened, because we did get lied to about what actually happened, and we didn't get informed of the accident till the 3rd. But when I put in the claim, I put it in how they told us what happened. And my insurance, they found the police report before we did, and they seen what actually happened. So they felt like we was trying to do fraud. So the guy, he told us it's better for us to pull the claim because it's gonna look like it's fraud on our part. So they dropped us from the insurance.
So they dropped you after?
Yes.
After the accident?
Yes.
Can I see the police report now? Well, this police report indicates that the other person was at fault.
That was my. Oh, sorry.
Am I wrong about that?
No, ma'am.
No, then don't speak. This police report, did you see it?
Yes. Got it right here.
I'd like to see what you have. This police report clearly says that Unit 1, which was the woman, ran a stop sign. That's what it says. Why would your insurance company drop you?
Because we gave the story that she told us, so it looks like we're doing fraud.
Yeah.
And basically, ignorance isn't an excuse for them. So.
Actually, that's pretty outrageous.
We was told it was a hit and run.
She told us it was a hit and run, so we told them that. She said she was in the hospital when it got hit, and then we found the report. She waited until the day that we had a rental to tell us. We had another rental on the 3rd that afternoon. She told us that morning.
On the 3rd?
That's correct.
And the accident was on the 1st?
That's correct.
Okay. I think you have to get your car fixed. I think that the fact that your insurance company canceled your insurance when it was clear that he was not at fault in this accident, at least according to the police report, is actually pretty outrageous. that they canceled your insurance. Is there any insurance on the car now?
Yes, there's regular insurance on it.
Not commercial anymore?
Not right now because we're not renting it.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $8,000. We're finished. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
I'm glad we won and everything. I felt like, we deserved more than we got, but at the end of the day, we won the case. I'm not mad at the decision.
I'm fine with it regardless because I know I was trying to get it fixed. It was just a timing issue.
She lied about everything. She literally lied about everything. She pulled out a gun on me.
Lying, I don't have anything to lie about. It's all in my evidence.
Like, she told me to come basically get the car and the keys in the mailbox. And when I went over there to get it, she pulled a gun out on me because I took my wig off.
She posted stuff saying I lied about things. I pulled my gun out on her. Like, girl, I don't have a gun, like, at all.
I think that they put it inside, so they checked them. But they said they couldn't go inside, so they checked their body.
They checked them. They wasn't able to prove that they had a gun because,
So she said it was a gun, it was a bat, and like I had to get checked twice by the police officer. And it was like, she came over here looking for problems because the car was gonna get towed.
It's definitely a risk, but, make sure we're prepared for stuff like that from now on.
No hard feelings, supporting Black businesses, but it is what it is. You know what you know, it's just facts.
I think I should just be grateful. I'm just gonna be quiet and just be grateful.
I'm sitting here trying to think of what the takeaway is on this case, and I can't think of the takeaway.
I mean, I'm having a hard time as well, but I think accountability and responsibility could be a good one. The defendant knows what she signed, that any damage to the car from her boyfriend, her, anyone while the car was in her possession is on her. But what we see a lot of is emotional issues come into play when people know their responsibility, but then there's an emotional issue. She came to my job, she harassed me, she came to my house and yelled at me, whatever it is. And they think they can use that as a justification to get out of their accountability. And although I'm not promoting going to someone's house for some self-help, that's not a reason for you not to follow through on your responsibility.
On your contractual responsibility.
Yes. Which she was clearly aware of. So maybe that.
That's the take.